Chapter 845. Yuan Zuhai's strength. Jia Qing spurted out a mouthful of blood and fell directly from the huge energy wave. He almost fainted straight away, but his will stopped him to faint like this. "What? How could this be?" said Jia Qing with difficulty. His piercing gaze stared at Yi Shiwen, who showed himself with slow steps. It was a little unbelievable. Why would he, a dignified Transcendent Realm second level, lose to Yi Shiwen, a kid who was only a half-step Transcendent Realm intermediate, not even late? Yi Shiwen didn't even look at him, let alone answer his question. In fact, not only did Jia Qing find this incomprehensible, but even the others found it hard to fathom. How could Yi Shiwen, a half-step Transcendent Realm intermediate kid, actually beat a Transcendent Realm second level? Even if Jia Qing had just entered Transcendent Realm second level, he was still a real Transcendent Realm second level. For them, it was simply hard to understand. But for Yi Shiwen, it was not the case because he noticed Jia Qing's fatal flaws. Jia Qing's wave-breaking saber technique's strength was indeed extraordinary. It was undeniably powerful. Unfortunately, his cultivation time seemed to be too short. One could see that there were many parts of the move that hadn't been cultivated to perfection. It was precisely because of this that Yi Shiwen could find the flaw and the opportunity to strike. He found the chink in Jia Qing's armor and concentrated all the power from his body to break Jia Qing's wave-breaking saber technique's scattered power. Initially, the wave-breaking saber technique was more potent in group battles, but even if an ordinary person knew about this weakness, they wouldn't be able to break it either. Only people like Yi Shiwen, whose physical body was robust enough in addition to having absorbed the Star Beast's power, could instantly destroy Jia Qing's wave-breaking saber technique after he completely unleashed his power. Everyone looked dumbly at Yi Shiwen, who had defeated Jia Qing, as if they had seen a ghost. They all gasped. From the moment he appeared, this half-step Transcendent Realm intermediate kid gave them a great surprise. It was like he had no limits. No matter what kind of enemy it was, it seemed like there was no way to force him to his limits. Yi Shiwen ignored Jia Qing, who was waiting bitterly for him to explain. He just looked at Yuan Shuahai in the Yuan family seats. Everyone knew that his target was Yuan Shuahai. Yuan Shuahai was the most outstanding genius of the Yuan family and also one of the original three young masters. He was even considered the leader of the three. Everyone also understood that the fight for champion would only be between Yuan Shuahai and Yi Shiwen. No matter who won, that person would be the champion. As for Wang Mingyu, no one thought that she could be the champion. Suppose Yuan Shuahai won, whether she fought or not would make no difference. If someone as terrifying as Yi Shiwen couldn't win, then it wouldn't matter if she, who had never beaten Yuan Shuahai before, went up there. Conversely, if Yi Shiwen won, then the Yuan family would no longer be able to send out a strong master who could match Yi Shiwen, so the only possibility was Yi Shiwen winning the championship. This battle between the two of them was the most critical. After this one battle, the slot contest would end. However, could Yuan Shuahai contend with Yi Shiwen? Everyone was a little worried, especially those in the Yuan family. In fact, although Yuan Shuahai was stronger than Wang Mingyu and Wu Chenhai, it was only by a little. He was only a tad bit stronger. Generally speaking, they were still at the same level. To defeat the other two, Yuan Shuahai still needed a lot of effort. But Wu Chenhai, who was about as strong as Yuan Shuahai now, was rendered unable to retaliate under Yi Ziwen's offense. Would Yuan Shuahai be able to contend with Yi Shiwen? Even Jia Qing, who everyone was optimistic about, suffered a crushing defeat in Yi Ziwen's hands, and Yuan Shuahai would not fare any better than them. If the battles hadn't started, everyone would probably be optimistic about Yuan Shuahai. After all, Yuan Shuahai had been famous for many years, but no one knew Yi Shiwen. But now, everyone was optimistic about Yi Shiwen because Yi Shiwen was far too powerful. He was so powerful that no one thought he had already gone all out. Yuan Shuahai saw Yi Shiwen staring at him, and without any hesitation he directly leaped into the arena. There was the same coldness in his gaze as he stared at Yi Shiwen. He was like a vast ice mountain, unfathomable by others. "I'll wait for half an hour for you to recover your qi," said Yuan Shuahai lightly. Yi Shiwen had just fought a battle, and Yuan Shuahai didn't want to take advantage of him. In that case, it wouldn't be a fair victory. Yuan Shuahai dared to say such a thing. Maybe he has some trump cards? He must have some trump cards. Look, that Yi Shiwen is also more serious than ever. He must know something? Could he be stronger than Jia Qing? Upon seeing Yuan Shuahai say that, everyone immediately began to discuss. At that time, Jia Qing, who got caught in the crossfire, had already fainted, and Yi Shiwen didn't pay him any attention. As for this guy who wanted to kill him, it was good enough that Yi Shiwen did not directly kill him. It was because they were in public. If they were in private, and Jia Qing dared to show murderous intent, Yi Shiwen would have killed him already. Although Yi Shiwen was not a bad person, he was not a soft-hearted person. Even if people described him as cruel, he wouldn't really care. That won't be necessary. It won't matter at all, said Yi Zaiwen lightly. The battle just now did not consume much of his qi. Observing person scripture, had been running for a few weeks and had completely recovered, and most importantly, he now had the star beast's bloodline. That qi was 10 times thicker than an ordinary person's. Unless it was a large-scale group battle, it was impossible to die of overconsumption under normal circumstances. Okay, you are worth my attack. Yuan Shuahai glanced lightly at Yi Shiwen as if trying to freeze the air. He could also see that Yi Shiwen was not forcefully pushing himself. Perhaps it was not important for Yi Shiwen. His big hand grabbed the air, and suddenly a snow-white longsword appeared in his hand. Majestic, thick qi began to emanate from his whole body, and the surrounding air started to crackle. This was the sound of the air freezing and cracking. Yi Shiwen was a little surprised. This Yuan Zuhai's power was the power of ice. In fact, if Jia Qing were here now, he would suffer an even more crushing defeat. It was because the power of ice would restrain Jia Qing's power of water. And most importantly, Yuan Shuahai had entered Transcendent Realm 2nd level. Although he had only just entered Transcendent Realm 2nd level, he was more substantial than Jia Qing. Although they both only just entered the 2nd level, Yuan Shuahai was clearly slightly stronger. Everyone was stunned. They finally understood why the Yuan family remained indifferent when the Wu family and the Wang family both invited help. The reason turned out to be this. They did not even have to invite help. Just Yuan Zuhai's Transcendent Realm 2nd level cultivation was their most tremendous confidence. With Yuan Shuahai, if they won the championship, then they won. If they didn't win, then inviting someone else to help would not make a difference. It's no wonder Yuan Shuahai is still full of confidence even after watching Yi Shiwen compete. This is why. Yes, no one would have thought that Yuan Shuahai could hide his strength so well. No wonder they don't need to invite help from outside. He himself is the strongest master. Then I shall take action. Yuan Shuahai yelled violently. The white longsword in his hand sprung out at the spur moment. Phantoms suddenly appeared in the sky, rushing straight toward Yi Shiwen like lightning, trying to besiege Shiwen violently. The longsword condensed from sword will in Yi Zaiwen's hand once again shot out, directly filling the sky with sword light. He sheltered himself within it. Dang! 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 There was a crisp sound of metals colliding. Those white sword shadows were not able to break through Yi Zaiwen's protective sword light. Before they could get close, they were all shattered. Although Yi Shiwen had never decided on his path, if others thought that his sword cultivation was weak, then they would be wrong. In fact, it was difficult for him to have any shortcomings. With the mysterious space, it would be quickly made up for even if he had any shortcomings. For others, it might take a lot of time or energy, but for him, it was just the matter of consuming some spiritual energy. At that moment, Yuan Shuahai had already rushed up. Instantaneously, the white longsword rushed out and slashed toward Yi Zaiwen's front. There was a cold light restricted in the tip of the sword. Almost instantly, Yi Zaiwen's protective sword light was broken. This was the most typical way of breaking through one's chink in the armor, just like how Yi Shiwen used Invincible Sword to break through the chink in the wave-breaking saber technique's armor. As long as the chink was broken, then the entire armor would collapse. Although that was the case, there were very few people who could do that. Most people could only hear about it and treat it as a martial arts experience. Burial Earth Sword. In Yi Zaiwen's hand, The sword will expand instantly and slash downward at lightning speed. The terrifying sword will roar in an instant, sweeping over Yuan Zuhai's head as if it was trying to take revenge. He already stopped caring about the white longsword coming for him. The two long swords were getting closer to each other. Both sides looked indifferent as if they couldn't see the long swords getting closer. It seemed a lose-lose situation where both of them would die by each other's swords. There was a smile at the corner of Yi Zaiwen's mouth. At the final moment, Yuan Shuahai finally took action and waved his sword to block Yi Zaiwen's offense. At that critical moment, he ended up deciding against employing a lose-lose tactic where both of them would die. Chapter 846. Taking complete control of the battle, boom. Yi Zaiwen's sword will fell on Yuan Zuhai's longsword. Both of their strengths were equally terrifying. Both their energies directly blew up the air. The shockwaves from the explosion rose and swept out in all directions. The corner of Yi Zaiwen's mouth corked slightly. This sword forced Yuan Shuahai to go back to defense, and it was an excellent start. It meant that the battle's pace had finally fallen out of Yuan Zuhai's hands into his own hands. He finally understood that Yuan Zuhai's strength was not weaker than his. Compared to Jia Qing, Yuan Shuahai was even stronger. The shockwaves from the battle between the two sides were too strong. The masters from the three families had to join forces to set up a barrier to prevent the shockwaves from the battle between the two sides from affecting them and the other disciples. He is already so strong now? Wang Mingyu stared blankly at the center of the arena. She wasn't talking about Yi Shiwen, but Yuan Shuahai. She had already known that Yi Shiwen was very powerful for a long time, but it was the first time she learned about Yuan Zuhai's strength. Or in other words, she did not expect that in these short 10 years, Yuan Shuahai had entered Transcendent Realm second level much faster than the rest of them. She and Wu Chunhai both wanted to use Spiritual Volcano's baptism to ascend into Transcendent Realm second level. Meanwhile, Yuan Shuahai had already entered Transcendent Realm second level. Then, after Spiritual Volcano's baptism, he would most likely attain Transcendent Realm second level peak. By then, Yuan Shuahai would be stronger than them. Yi Shiwen was not a big deal. He was just an outsider anyway. He couldn't stay here for a long time, but Yuan Shuahai was different. He represented the Yuan family, one of the three major families. If she couldn't catch up in cultivation as soon as possible, then she would only get left behind further and further in the end. The only good thing was that Wu Chenhai's strength was not much better than hers. They could be considered to be in the same position. However, Yuan Shuahai was just one step ahead of them. Luckily, it was possible to make up the difference. After all, no one dared to say that their cultivation would only improve by leaps and bounds, that there would not be a time when their cultivation would stagnate. After all, they had been fighting for so many years. She still had this bit of confidence. Yuan Shuahai quickly understood that his control of the battle had fallen promptly into Yi Zaiwen's hands, but he could not do anything despite realizing it. It was because he couldn't be like Yi Shiwen, who wasn't scared of dying and didn't care if both of them got wounded. Yi Shiwen had a strong physical body and the Phoenix regeneration technique, so he often didn't mind an eye-for-an-eye fighting style. For him, he had no weaknesses and was fearless, but Yuan Shuahai was not. However, Yuan Shuahai was able to take the lead and enter the Transcendent Realm second level before Wang Mingyu and Wu Chunhai, which was not an easy feat. The longsword waved out a sky full of sword light that turned into flying snowflakes. A blizzard formed and swept towards Yi Shiwen. Each of these snowflakes was condensed by sword light and contained terrifying energy. When it exploded, its power was even more frightening than a bomb. Yi Shiwen immediately knew the truth about these snowflakes. He immediately thrust out his sword in an unremarkable manner, but it was swift. Thousands of swords were shot out in an instant. Boom! 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 There were sounds of violent explosions all around Yi Shiwen. The snowflakes burst open on the spot, and the energy that spilled out swept toward Yi Zaiwen's body, but they were all blocked by the protective qi on Yi Zaiwen's body. These snowflakes couldn't get within 10 feet of Yi Shiwen. Since there was no way to get close, there was no way for the shockwaves from the explosion to hurt Yi Shiwen. Compared to Yuan Shuahai, who was a real swordmaster, Yi Zaiwen's sword techniques were not as magnificent and unmatched, seemingly even a little crude. But with such a simple sword technique, Yi Shiwen could unleash an unprecedentedly terrifying power. He was simply quick, accurate, and harsh. But it was this speed, accuracy, and harshness that rendered Yuan Shuehai helpless against Yi Shiwen. Yi Shiwen also took a step forward. Burial Sword, Burial Earth Sword, and Invincible Sword alternated in Yi Zaiwen's hands, all of which were very pure and powerful. Besides the last move, Immortality Sword, those three moves could be regarded as top martial techniques. Both of their figures quickly disappeared from everyone's eyes. They were agile. Everyone could barely judge their positions in the constant explosion of snowflakes. Yuan Zuhai's expression became more solemn. When it came to sword technique skillfulness, he was better than Yi Shiwen, but the pace of the entire battle was under Yi Zaiwen's control. The reason was none other than because Yi Zaiwen's power was too great. Every time the sword tip touched Yuan Shuehai, he could feel a terrifying power from the sword that made his arms feel slightly numb. One could imagine how dreadful it was. Yi Shiwen was also going all out. Except for some killing moves, he indeed did not hold back. Yuan Shuehai was much more potent than Jia Qing, and he must use his full strength to handle Yuan Shuehai. Otherwise, there was simply no way to suppress Yuan Shuehai. Soaring Ice Dragon. Yuan Shuehai yelled violently, and the long sword in his hand revolved in an instant, forming a snow-colored halo that instantly swept into a huge ice dragon. In the sunlight, the ice crystals were lifelike. Every piece of the dragon's scales looked real, and there were even stripes on them. It was simply a colossal ice dragon. Roar! The ice dragon roared and pounced toward Yi Shiwen. The ice dragon opened its bloody mouth and spat suddenly. It sprayed slush all over the sky as if it was trying to freeze the whole world. Every bit of slush was able to freeze and destroy the air. They were all formed using sword chi. Burial Sword. The long sword in Yi Zaiwen's hand glowed with a mighty sword light that shot out. It also formed an overwhelming sword screen that went head-to-head with the slush. Boom! 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 The slush transformed into ice-type sword chi and collided with Yi Zaiwen's sword light. The sound of the explosion lingered in everyone's ears. Roar! The ice dragon roared and instantly spread its thick claws. It directly tore a massive tear in the sword screen that Yi Shiwen made. Its huge ice crystal body rushed in, opening its bloody mouth and trying to bite Yi Shiwen, trying to swallow him down completely. Boom! With a loud noise, the dragon completely swallowed Yi Shiwen. Everyone exclaimed. Was Yi Shiwen about to die? Everyone stared at the gigantic ice dragon, wondering what happened to Yi Shiwen. Wang Mingyu almost broke the armrest of her seat. Her beautiful eyes stared at the ice dragon. This was not only because of Yi Shiwen but also because it was related to whether the Wang family's counterattack this time would succeed. Even in the long run, this was related to the Wang family's fortune in the distant future. It was normal to not win the championship, and it was even unsurprising to lose several times in a row, but losing 10 times in a row was a problem. And at this time, the Wu family and the Yuan family were taking turns to win the championship, clearly trying to suppress the Wang family. Whether they could take the championship from the hands of these two was a very crucial matter. Clang! There was a loud sound of metal trembling. Boundless sword chi swept up from within the ice dragon. With a rumble and a loud noise, the ice dragon exploded on the spot, genuinely turning into slush in the sky. Driven by the sword chi, the sky full of slush formed a massive blizzard. As long as he's okay. Wang Mingyu breathed out a sigh of relief when she saw the ice dragon explode directly on the spot. At that moment, everyone realized how terrifying Yi Shiwen was. When the ice dragon swallowed him, many people thought that Yi Shiwen was doomed, but they didn't expect that Yi Shiwen would be able to escape. Yi Shiwen wielded a sword in his hand. No one could understand the danger he went through just now. Just now, he was bombarded by a sky full of sword chi in the belly of the ice dragon, and he was almost strangled on the spot. However, he had the protective Tianyuan mirror. The sword chi couldn't break the defense of Tianyuan mirror at all. Instead of waiting for Yi Shiwen to take a breath, Yuan Shuehai attacked straight away. You are very powerful. If you can take my next sword, I will immediately turn around and leave. I want fight for the championship this time. Yuan Shuai shouted. He knew that Yi Shiwen had completely grasped his rhythm. Yi Shiwen was very strong, so he decided to use his most decisive killing move directly. If his most decisive killing move still couldn't deal with Yi Shiwen, then it would be meaningless to fight. Since he and Yi Shiwen began fighting, the two sides had exchanged over 100 moves. He had consumed more than half of his chi and was starting to gasp a little, but looking at Yi Shiwen, whose face was not flushed and heart wasn't racing, it felt like Yi Shiwen did not show any signs of chi overconsumption. Moreover, Yi Shiwen had fought Jia Qing just now, so Yuan Shuai had the advantage. It showed how terrifying Yi Zaiwen's chi was. The strengths of both sides were almost the same, neck and neck. If Yuan Shuai continued to consume chi at this rate, he would lose. Rather than lose that way, it would be better to fight one last desperate fight. It would be best if he could beat Yi Shiwen, but if he couldn't, he could still retreat decently. Icebound Realm. Yuan Shuai yelled violently. The majestic ice-type chi instantly swept across the arena. The temperature plummeted by dozens of degrees, and a blizzard began to blow frantically. Yuan Zuhai's long sword shot out instantly, and the sword light turned into an icicle that was ejected. The blizzard in the sky was also attracted by a strange force, revolving rapidly around the icicle. The blizzard became more intense, taking up half the arena. It hurtled toward Yi Shiwen. Chapter 847. Becoming champion. This icicle emanated destruction, seemingly unstoppable in its attempt to seal the sky and the earth. This was the pinnacle of Yuan Zuhai's sword technique. If Yi Shiwen could mitigate this blow, Yuan Shuai would be rendered vulnerable with no chance of fighting back. After all, the vast majority of the remaining chi in Yuan Shuai would be depleted in an instant. One move would determine the outcome. All that mattered was in this move. The icicles summoned the blizzard and occupied the sky. The surrounding ice and snow condensed near the icicles were launched at lightning speed. Yi Shiwen began to become serious. Facing Yuan Zuhai's ultimate killer move, he had to stay alert and even go all out. Otherwise, he might be killed on the spot. No matter how oppressive Yi Zaiwen's combat power was, he was only at half-step Transcendent Realm. There was a fair gap with Transcendent Realm. Sure enough, it was a long-lasting weakness that he would be helpless with for a long time. The golden divinity robe on his body was gleaming. There was an imperceptible crimson hue at the golden divinity robe's surface. Meteor explosion. Yi Shiwen gave all out and utilized his ultimate move, albeit he was still in the process of researching it and deducing it. Although meteor explosion was not fully comprehended, Yi Shiwen still managed to activate it. Of course, the power output had not reached the highest value, which Yi Shiwen could pull off. But even so, the power output had already transcended Shattered Star Fist and the other moves he was accustomed to previously. Yi Zaiwen's hand was immediately wrapped with the boundless star powers. The star power engulfed the sky. It was at a completely different caliber as compared to the ice and snow permeating the air. The star power had seemingly declared its authority in this region. Boom! Yi Zaiwen's fist was wrapped in the power of countless stars, turned into a star, and slammed into the icicle that was blowing the wind and snow. Boom! Two extremely terrifying forces collided, emitted two powerful shock waves, not giving way to each other in midair. At that very moment, the crowd witnessed the two exchanged blows clearly. After all, the two of them decided not to defeat their opponent with speed but sheer strength. They slammed into each other on the spot like two gigantic monsters, not giving way to each other and not allowing each other to move forward at all. It was supposed to be an arena that could completely withstand the younger generation's fight, but it had now completely collapsed. When the two were fighting, the terrible shockwaves swept out in all directions. There were 3 prominent clan's members on all sides. The barriers laid by the clan's masters were still firm, but the arena above the ground was obliterated. Similarly, the arrays laid at the arena previously were all shattered in an instant. Yuan Shuai broke out in cold sweat. This technique had exhausted all his chi. If he couldn't defeat Yi Shiwen, then he would be done for. He had not recovered yet. Even a great sage could kill him. This was a double-edged sword. Hence, it was only utilized either at the last moment or an uphill fight. After all, there was nothing else to be concerned about at the last moment. If Yuan Shuahai did nothing else, it would be his demise. Giving all out might change his fate. Behind him, the Yuan family's masters all watched Yuan Shuahai nervously. Even if Yuan Shuahai failed, losing a slot once or twice did not affect the big picture. However, if something happened to Yuan Shuahai, it would be a real loss to the Yuan family. Yuan Shuahai was the strongest among the younger generation the family had nurtured. The family couldn't bear to lose him anyway. They might not worry too much previously. After all, Yuan Shuahai was still an elite that Wu family had no way to deal with despite foreign aid. But the family didn't expect that Yuan Shuahai was forced to the point where he had to fight to the death. Both sides seemed to have exhausted all their strength as they madly collided with each other. It's time. I can defeat you in one move. Yi Shiwen shouted, meteor explosion. Coupled with Yi Ziwen's shout, the stars on his fist suddenly began to burn fanatically, emitting glaring light in different directions. Boom! The meteor exploded, and the power of the explosion seemed to be controlled. Invisible barriers formed around it, and the blast was diverted toward the icicle. Boom! With a loud bang, the icicle cracked immediately. The icicle tip shattered, turning into ice sludge on the spot. Then, the rest of the icicle was broken apart inch by inch under Yi Ziwen's fist impact. It happened like a domino. With one spot shattered, the entire icicle began to crack inch by inch. Crack, crack, crack. Series of cracking sounds resounded. The cracks, which resembled a spider web, quickly covered the entire icicle. Boom! The entire icicle was shattered with its pieces scattered around, revealing the long white sword in it. Yi Ziwen's fist momentum was undiminished. It slammed on the long white sword like two big hammers. Puff! Yuan Shuahai felt a terrifying and monstrous power crash on him with the sword as a medium. The aura barrier left on his body was diminishing already. At this moment, this impact shattered the barrier into dust instantly. Immediately, that impact bombarded Yuan Zuhai's body. The impact was not weakened in any slight. Despite his excellent physique, it was still incomparable to Yi Shiwen, a monster hiding beneath human skin. Immediately, a mouthful of blood spurted out. Yuan Zuhai's figure flew directly into the Yuan family seats. Shuahai. It's fine. Instantly, many of the Yuan family's elder masters were in a mess. They caught Yuahai and relieved the impact. Seeing Yuan Zuhai's hands, the Yuan family's elders became furious immediately. As they were about to lose their temper at Yi Shiwen, Yuan Shuahai staggered to his feet and prevented the clan members from swearing at Yi Shiwen. Thank you for giving mercy this time, but I will find a chance to fight with you again. Yuan Shuahai said with a pale face covering his chest. He naturally knew that Yi Shiwen did not give all out. Otherwise, he would never survive, especially Yi Ziwen's last move, meteor explosion. It was a horrifying scene, like a meteor exploding in the sky. Even the Transcendent Realm Masters might be blown to pieces if Yi Shiwen gave all out. He could faintly sense that the activation was incomplete, or else its might could escalate into another caliber. However, no matter whether this technique was completed or not, it did not matter to Yuan Shuahai. He could escape the catastrophe because Yi Shiwen showed mercy. Yi Shiwen just smiled and shook his head. He had a good impression of Yuan Shuahai. In any case, Yuan Shuahai was still an upright person. This person had given him a chance to fully recover before the fight. That was why Yi Shiwen gave mercy. Otherwise, Yi Shiwen was not a soft-hearted person. For example, Jia Qing went into a coma because of his kick. The Yuan family members only relaxed a little after hearing Yuan Zuhai's words. Hearing Yuan Shuahai said this, it seemed that there was no danger, and they were relieved. Yuan Shuahai was the sore spot in their hearts. As long as Yuan Shuahai wasn't critically wounded, they would not have anything else to say. Compared with the Yuan family master, who was relieved, the Wu family master was much more depressed. Among the eyes looking at Yi Shiwen, there were vicious gazes. Yi Shiwen gave mercy to Yuan Shuai, but he didn't on Wu Chenhai and Jia Qing. Yi Shiwen just sneered at these spiteful gazes and didn't care at all. He was not stupid. How could he easily forgive someone who wanted to kill himself? If it weren't because it was in public with many masters present, Yi Shiwen would behead them ruthlessly. Ah, we won. We won. For 500 years, God bless my Wang family. Great, we won, we won. God bless you. This Yi Shiwen defeated Yuan Shuai. It's amazing. Compared with the Yuan family masters who kept silent for a while, the Wu family masters repeatedly cursed Yi Shiwen. The Wang family masters felt a burst of ecstasy. It had been 500 years. The situation was finally reversed. Although compared to the 10,000-year lifespan of a transcendent realm master, these 500 years were not too long. Even so, it was uncomfortable to be suppressed under the Wu family and the Yuan family in these 500 years. Moreover, Wu family and Yuan family had a faint tendency to join forces, which was extremely unfavorable to the Wang family. Perhaps no harm would surface in a short time. However, after waiting for several thousand years, the number of masters in the Wang family would be far inferior to the Wu family and the Yuan family. By that time, the Wang family would either have to flee from South Initiate Island or be unlisted. There would be no other end. This would be the result of the imbalance in strength. But everything had changed. Although it was only once, it broke the faint union between the two families. It was a massive slap to their arrogance. It altered the decline of the 500 years in one fell swoop. He did it. He really did it. Wang Mingyu felt a little unbelievable. Previously, she was the one who had the most confidence in Yi Shiwen. When everyone in the Wang family doubted Yi Shiwen, only she stood up to support Yi Shiwen. But at this time, she couldn't believe it. Yi Shiwen won the championship. This had far exceeded her expectations. At the very beginning, she even wanted Yi Ziwen's help to not lose too badly. She did not expect Yi Shiwen to crush everyone and became the champion. Yes, he really did it. The young lady has keen eyes. Behind Wang Mingyu, Uncle Lu said with a slight smile, and the shock in his eyes had just diminished. Chapter 848. Wu family's conspiracy. Yi Shiwen defeated the masters from other families on behalf of the Wang family. The news of winning the championship instantly spread throughout South Initiate Island. One stone stirred up 1,000 waves. Many residents of South Initiate Island, who had stayed for many years, found it unbelievable. After all, not everyone went to watch the slot contest. It had been 500 years since the last time the Wang family became the champion. The champion was either taken away by Wu family or Yuan family. Basically, there was no Wang family's share. The entry slots contest into the spiritual volcano was not a big deal for many ordinary warriors. No matter what, it wasn't something they could attain. The final winner for slots would not be them. Only 1 or 2 slots would be shared among 20 million ordinary warriors. The slots were majorly in the hands of prominent families. Having 1 slot befall to them was one of a kind, rare luck. Therefore, for them, this slot contest was mainly to observe the strength of the 3 clans. The stronger ones would naturally win the championship, and the weaker ones would naturally win fewer times. In the past 500 years, the Wang family had not been able to win the championship once. 4 transcendent realms' lifespan of 10,000 years, 500 years was not worth mentioning. It would not be able to shake the Wang family's 10,000 years foundation, but ordinary warriors won't think so. What they could see was the decline of the Wang family over the past 500 years. Hence, the warriors who were hesitant would not join the Wang family's side. In the long run, the Wang family would falter against the other 2 prominent families. This was the issue the Wang family was helpless with. The Wu family was planning to utilize this issue to slowly grind the Wang family to death, like boiling frogs in warm water. When the Wang family realized something was wrong, they would not be much capable of fighting back. The Wang family was obviously aware of this and wanted to make a change. However, they were helpless all these while since they were unable to win the championship. They were not convincing the crowd. The crowd wouldn't believe that the Wang family did not falter. But now, with Yi Ziwen's victory, the depression that shrouded them all these years was wiped out. They were all elated. Many warriors had begun to invest in the Wang family's side because of this victory. In contrast to them, many of the experts in the Wu family were in a sour mood. How could this be? Despite so many years of planning, Yi Shiwen had ruined their plan. Worse still, they couldn't deal with Yi Shiwen. Yi Shiwen stayed in Wang family's house. The Wu family had no chance to assault Yi Shiwen. Damn it. This damn Yi Shiwen ruined our Wu family's many years of planning. What the hell? In the Wu family conference hall, Wu family masters cussed one after another, wishing Yi Shiwen would be cursed to death. Despite knowing that it was impossible, they continued. For them, it was a way to vent, and it was better than nothing. Above all seats, Wu Nanjie had a gloomy face, and his eyes flickered. No one knew what he was thinking. Big brother, we can't just suck it up. Look at little Hai. He was beaten up so badly that it would take him a few years to recover. At the seat next to the main seat, a tall man yelled angrily. He somewhat resembled Wu Nanjie. He was Wu Nanjie's only younger brother, Wu Ying. In the Wu family, Wu Ying was the main combat force. He had superb cultivation, second only to Wu Nanjie's Transcendent Realm 5th level, reaching the Transcendent Realm 4th level peak. He had always insisted on being ruthless to the outside world, especially the plan to deal with the Wang family. He was involved in the majority of the plan. If someone blindly believed that he was a simple and honest person because of his appearance, it would be a big mistake. Indeed, family master. What that kid is doing now has turned our plans plotted for hundreds of years into nothingness almost overnight. We absolutely can't let that kid go. Yeah, that's right. We should spare no mercy to that. Otherwise, what will happen to our reputation? Who will give us face in the future? Simple-minded. You're only focused on fighting. If I could, I would have already killed him in the arena, said Wu Nanjie impatiently. Yi Shiwen must be well protected by the Wang family now. If he could, he would have killed Yi Shiwen in the arena when Shiwen was unprepared. Of course, he didn't know that Yi Shiwen had a trump card, but he firmly believed in his judgment that he could definitely kill this kid. He is under the protection of the Wang family. We have no way to kill him, said Wu Nanjie. Then let's wait until he comes out. I don't think a foreigner like him would want to stay in South Initiate Island for a lifetime. As long as he comes out, it is our chance to make a move, said Wu Ying coldly. Killing intent flickered in his gaze as if there was a destructive world in it, which was terrifying. No one knew how many people were killed to form such a killing intent. That kid has become stronger now. After he is baptized in the spiritual volcano, I am afraid that even the Transcendent Realm 2nd level masters will be unmatched. If we make a move, we can kill him. However, the Wang family will put close observation on us. Any slight move from us will raise Wang family's alert. Wu Nanjie shook his head and said. He recognized the big picture clearly. Yi Shiwen had tarnished Wu family's face and let their Wu family's hundreds of years of plan go to waste. This was exactly why they must kill Yi Shiwen. As for their son, Wu Chenhai's hatred, it was just a small trigger and not a big deal at all. But for the same reason, the Wang family would spare no effort to protect Yi Shiwen. Right now, Yi Shiwen had almost become a representative figure for their Wang family. If their Wang family couldn't even protect Yi Shiwen and let Yi Shiwen be killed, who else would dare to take refuge in their Wang family? Who would dare to work for their Wang family? Hence, no matter what, the Wang family would give it all to protect Yi Shiwen. Especially during the period when Yi Shiwen was still in the Wang family, it was even more critical. No one else was allowed to assault Yi Shiwen. Because of this, Wu Ying only dared to make a move after Yi Shiwen left. He didn't dare to promise that he would deal with Yi Shiwen when the target was still in the Wang family because he feared the deterrent coming from the Wang family. To prevent the Wu family masters from hunting down Yi Shiwen, any one Wu family master's movements were inevitably under surveillance. If anything went wrong, the Wang family would make a big move. As forces fighting against each other for countless years, they were so familiar with each other. They knew each other's trump card. It was not an easy task to hide from the Wang family while at the same time hunting down Yi Shiwen. "Brother, if you are worried about this, then leave it to me," said Wu Ying as he patted his chest. "Have you figured out something?" Wu Nanjie looked at his younger brother with some doubts. Even he was put in a helpless spot, would his younger brother have a way? "It's simple. In my previous adventure, I met a brother. He is not a human, but the vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile clan in the sea. The name is Yi Xiangtianun. Our brotherhood is deep. As long as I say a word, he can help us kill that Yi Shiwen. Even if we can just let the Wang family witness it powerless, we don't even have to do anything. Haha, when we got the news of the kid's death, we can mock the Wang family's poor state." Wu Yin laughed loudly in delight as though he had witnessed Yi Ziwen's death. He believed that Yi Shiwen had no chance of escape. "Then what's your brother's strength?" Wu Nanjie asked. He didn't have any more questions on the Sea Clan. As a matter of fact, in the Endless Sea region, it wasn't entirely accurate to say that the human claimed the seaside while the Sea Clans claimed the sea bottom. In fact, the entire sea region should be considered under the Sea Clan sovereign. They were the actual overlords of the sea. These intelligent clans living in the sea were tyrannical. Any sea clans alone could shock the world. Fortunately, these sea clans were also divided into different forces. The conquests between each other far exceed the hostility between human forces, which allowed human beings to survive in this endless sea region. But even so, most of the sea regions were still under the reign of beast or sea clans. The regions that were truly under the humans' reign might not even composite 1/10 of the sea regions. They were densely scattered on the island. Therefore, it was customary to have business deals with those sea clans. Even many human forces adhered to certain sea clans in a format similar to subordinate forces. They had to constantly turn in various resources and abide by the sea clan's deployment, sending people to the sea bottom in the war efforts of the sea clan they adhered to. The difficulty of human survival in the sea region was apparent. The only difference was that the sea clan in the sea was hostile to each other. There was no way for them to form an alliance like the 100 Clan Alliance. Otherwise, the human situation would be even worse. He is already the Transcendent Realm 3rd level. Although he is a little weaker than me, there is no problem at all to get rid of that little brat. Wu Ying nodded and said, "That's great. This time I want this little brat to die without any remains." Wu Nanjie laughed. The entire Wu family conference hall was also immersed in sinister and wild laughter. With the end of the championship, the dispute between the 3 clans came to an end. Now, the 3 clans were allocating slots among themselves. Everyone was discussing the matter of who would be accepting Spiritual Volcano's baptism. 1. Chinese depiction of the butterfly effect. Chapter 849. Go to Spiritual Volcano. Wang Mingyu should be the last batch. When they attained the Transcendent Realm 2nd level, they had to leave the opportunity to other newcomers. By that time, the baptism of Spiritual Volcano would not be efficacious on them. It would be better to leave the opportunity to newcomers so that the family could continue to produce new talents from generation to generation. Basically, the Spiritual Volcano only worked for newcomers below the Transcendent Realm 3rd level. If this were not the case, it would have attracted many powerful forces to compete for it. The hot topic continued, and the day approaching Spiritual Volcano's eruption had finally arrived. Over the past countless years, the Spiritual Volcano would erupt punctually. Hence, no one was impatient with it as they waited for the approaching day of the eruption. Those who were qualified finally gathered at the pier. They would take a ship together to the Spiritual Volcano. Each occupied a different slot according to the ranking. Although they were all able to receive the Spiritual Volcano's baptism, their harvest would be different. Staying at different slots would receive different benefits. As the champion, Yi Shiwen was in the best slot. Then, the Wang family owned the latter 3 slots. Followed by that would be the 2 slots for Yuan family, then the 2 slots for Wu family. Finally, it would be the slots dedicated to the 2 winners among the individual cultivators. Although they occupied the inferior slots, they felt blessed to be qualified. Early in the morning, everyone from the Wang family arrived at the dock ahead of others. Since they won, everyone in the Wang family was naturally excited. They were late in the past, but they were the first to arrive this time. At the Wang family's side, besides Yi Shiwen, there were Wang Mingyu, Wang Feiyun, and another young talent. Although they were not as good as Wang Feiyun, they had attained the Transcendent Realm first level. Their foundation was not solid, hence they required the spiritual volcano's baptism. This was a shortcut that would save countless hours of hard work. Many Wang family's masters chattered delightfully. They had never felt so proud like this for 500 years. Sure enough, they were still aware that it was all Yi Ziwen's contribution. The Wang family members toned down their voices in respect when Yi Shiwen threw his glance over. Nevertheless, Yi Shiwen was unfazed by it. He only cared about the spiritual volcano baptism. With this spiritual volcano baptism, he would be able to attain half-step Transcendent Realm late. With that, he could start preparing for the Transcendent Realm retribution. He didn't dare to ascend into the Transcendent Realm in one fell swoop. Judging from the previous heaven's retribution, he knew that the heaven had seemingly found him not pleasing to its eyes. The catastrophe of stepping into Great Sage previously was already terrifying. Hence, he could not imagine how disastrous it would be to challenge the retribution of ascending to the Transcendent Realm. So he could only restrain himself and wait until he was fully prepared. It was best to challenge the retribution when he was certain that he could contend with it. He didn't want to die before the actual retribution started. But even so, his combat prowess would attain a great leap after the breakthrough to half-step Transcendent Realm late. Furthermore, he still had Star Beast's bloodline power remnants that were yet to be fully digested and absorbed. With that, he could quickly attain half-step Transcendent Realm late peak. After that, he could challenge the Lightning Retribution and attain the Transcendent Realm. Even Yi Shiwen himself would not know how strong he could be. Soon after the Wang family arrived, Yuan family's masters also arrived. In addition to Yuan Zihai's slot this time, another slot was also given to an outstanding young talent in the Yuan family. This young talent stagnated in Transcendent Realm for a long time. With Spiritual Volcano's baptism, it would be easier for him to ascend into Transcendent Realm second level. The arrival of the Yuan family did not arouse too much attention from the Wang family. After all, the Wang family was now the champion. It made more sense for others to pay close attention to them. Yi Shiwen only glanced at Yuan Shuahai, and then withdrew his gaze. He continued to immerse himself in the mysterious space, deducing the meteor explosion technique. Seeing Yi Shiwen glance at him, Yuan Shuahai lowered his head and let it slip. He stopped paying attention. After all, he was a cold person. If it weren't for Yi Shiwen defeating him head-on, he would have no interest in caring. Although Yuan Shuahai was not interested, everyone else in the Yuan family held a different attitude, mostly those Yuan family juniors. Not everyone saw Yi Shiwen previously. The battle that day ended soon. Initially, it was well known to be a contest which could last several days. Due to Yi Ziwen's presence, the contest period shortened terribly. Those who decided to go late were losing out. After all, they thought there was nothing in particular happening at the starting period. It felt like a scam while annoying at the same time. It was all over in such a short time. Is that Yi Shiwen? He doesn't seem that good. Why did Brother Shuahai lose? Yeah, besides Brother Shuahai, Wu Chenhai from the Wu family and Jia Qing, the foreign aide were all defeated by Yi Shiwen. This is inexplicable. Yeah, whose disciple do you think he will be? He is so young. God knows there are so many monstrous geniuses in this world. How could we identify every single one of them? Everyone in the Yuan family was in a heated argument. Since Yi Shiwen had been merciful to Yuan Shuahai previously, so they didn't have the same hatred level on Yi Shiwen as the Wu family. What came next was not the Wu family, but the two individual cultivators who got the slot. They came in delight. One was a black-clothed old man, and the other was a middle-aged man in formal attire. These two people came together. Sure enough, it was also an effective way to resist the coercion from the three prominent families. No matter what, they were minute in front of the three prominent families. It was an excellent way to protect themselves. Soon after the arrival of the two individual cultivators, Wu family finally arrived. This time, the Wu family had suffered a massive loss. Not only was Wu Chunhai crippled, but Yi Shiwen had also knocked out the foreign aid. Yi Shiwen was the leading cause of their damage. Everyone in the Wu family was gloomy and angry. Among them, Wu Chunhai and Jia Qing appeared. Although they were crippled as Wu family's transcendent realm warriors, they had qualities beyond ordinary people. Besides, the Wu family had used many resources to recover their injury in such a short time. In other words, it would be these two people who would accept the spiritual volcano's baptism on behalf of the Wu family. Just like Wang Feiyun. Despite Wu Chunhai crippling his hands, the injury now was not noticeable, seemingly fully recovered. After all, despite the spiritual volcano offering baptism, it was quite dangerous even for the warriors in their optimum state. Hence, going in while injured was equivalent to courting death. Everyone in Wu family looked at Yi Shiwen with killing intent. They did it so blatantly without any slight of concealing it. In particular, both Jia Qing and Wu Chunhai wanted to skin Yi Shiwen alive. They lost too miserably under Yi Zaiwen's hands. Yi Shiwen didn't care about these bitter gazes. Yi Shiwen, their eyes are full of murderous intent. I'm afraid they won't let it go. Yi Mo's voice suddenly appeared in Yi Zaiwen's mind. Are you awake? Yi Shiwen asked. Previously, Yi Mo was in a deep sleep to absorb the blood essence of the Transcendent Realm 3rd level city guard captain. He only woke up once when Yi Shiwen was under pursuit. This was the second time he went awake since then. Have you completely absorbed it? Yup, I have completely absorbed it, Yi Mo said with a smile. But speaking of them, the killing intent of these people is so blatant. They don't bother hiding it. You have offended them terribly. I'm afraid they won't just let you go like this. You have to be alert. Okay. Yi Shiwen nodded, looking at the Wu family's gazes. These people hated Yi Shiwen to the heart. They would conspire against me. Yi Shiwen was crystal clear about it, but he had no other way. Firstly, the opponent just had a plan, but they had not made their move yet. Secondly, he didn't know what the other party would do. The most crucial point was that his current strength was too weak. He still couldn't deal with the Wu family. But it doesn't matter. As long as I accept the spiritual volcano's baptism and step into the half-step transcendent realm late, even if the old guy Wu Nanjie tries to capture me personally, he will not succeed. Yi Shiwen was still quite confident. He might not defeat Wu Nanjie, but he could still flee from Wu Nanjie's pursuit. After all, he had the demon wings. In the face of absolute strength, all conspiracies and tricks would be illusory. This was Yi Zaiwen's creed. In the face of any conspiracy, he would be defeated as long as he kept improving himself. Since they are all here, then it is just right. Let's go to the sea surface of the spiritual volcano. It is best to avoid delaying further, said Wang Yanghua. If they were late and the spiritual volcano erupted, the Wang family would suffer the most significant loss. This also raised the doubt that the Wu family came so late for this reason. If the Wu family were late, they would lose up to 2 slots, but the Wang family would lose 4 slots. How could Wang Yanghua give the Wu family the chance to pull off such dirty tricks? If the Wu family said nothing and decided not to leave, then Wang family would go by themselves. By then, the Wang family would still have the slots. 1. The captain first mentioned in Chapter 827. Chapter 850. Breakthrough in the volcano. Wang Yanghua had already said so. It did not matter whether the Wu family members were happy with it or not. There was a tacit understanding among the 3 families. If the Wu family had the guts to violate it, the Wang family would do so next time. South Initiate Island was generally peaceful. It lay in the compromise and balance between the 3 families. No one took further pauses. Everyone boarded the ship prepared long ago and headed towards the sea region where spiritual volcano was located. As a matter of fact, it should be considered a ship-shaped martial instrument. It turned out to be a great sage tool. Of course, they did not have the luxury of using the transcendent tool as martial instruments for travel. Even in the ancient Barons continent, the transcendent tool was not common, especially for the 3 prominent clans. Their influence was limited to South Initiate Island and nearby sea regions. There were layers of space warp on the ship. It might not appear big, but it could accommodate many people. After cruising for another half an hour, the ship finally stopped. The three families started to get organized and shared important points to take note of. For the two individual cultivators who seemed to be experienced, there was no need for further notes. Remember, after you go in, don't move around and wait quietly for the spiritual volcano to erupt. At that time, you must activate your aura barrier immediately, or you will be burned to death by the lava, urged Wang Yanghua. In fact, Wang Mingyu and Wang Feiyun were not newbies. Those who needed the reminder would be Yi Shiwen and the Wang family's young talent, who would be accepting the spiritual volcano baptism for the first time. Yi Shiwen nodded. During the cruise, he didn't do anything. He only asked around the baptism details. Soon, everyone plunged into the sea. At this time, this sea region appeared relatively peaceful. No beast was seen. All the beasts could feel that this volcano was about to erupt, and the surrounding area would be dangerous. Since these beasts had left in advance, this sea region also appeared to be extremely quiet. Yi Shiwen and others also arrived at the sea bottom. However, a vast continuous mountain range appeared in front of everyone. At the top of this submerged mountain range, there was a huge opening. It was this active volcano that would erupt once every 50 years. There was a fire-attributed spiritual vein near this active volcano. It seemed to be a symbiotic spiritual vein of this active volcano. It was an excellent grade, but none of the three prominent families dared to make a move on this spiritual vein. If one were to be careless and cause this active volcano to erupt in advance, everyone would suffer a terrible fate. So, they would instead send people here for baptism every 50 years. Yi Shiwen activated his spiritual senses. He could immediately feel a majestic energy brewing in this active volcano as if it might erupt at any time. Yi Shiwen became serious. In fact, their distance was not far away from the eruption range. Yi Shiwen dared not to belittle the power of nature. If a transcendent realm master were directly bombarded by the magma spewed out, it would be a fatal burn injury. Everyone did not hesitate and went to their respective positions in descending order, with Yi Shiwen taking the best spot. Yi Shiwen found the cave that belonged to him. He drilled in and immediately laid out the array. Then, he sat down cross-legged, quietly waiting for the spiritual volcano to erupt. Boom! Suddenly, Yi Shiwen felt an earthquake as if some giant creature was turning over. The ground was shaking, and his surrounding rocks were utterly shattered. The surrounding seawater had seemingly reached the boiling point in an instant. Yi Shiwen quickly sensed the absurd escalation of the surrounding temperature. Although he was not directly facing the volcanic crater, he could still feel the temperature change. He hurriedly activated the aura barrier to isolate the heat. This temperature was nothing to his physical body. However, he was afraid that the spiritual volcano would suddenly erupt, burying himself alive on the spot. The mountain range became unstable. Yi Shiwen only felt that the surrounding area was getting hotter and hotter, but immediately, hot spiritual energy engulfed him. This spiritual energy was so rich and pure that it was incredible. The fire-attributed energy was simply out of place with the surrounding seawater. As the energy entered the cave Yi Shiwen was located, all the seawater surrounding him evaporated instantly. After a while, in the cave where Yi Shiwen was, only this scorching spiritual energy was left. Yi Shiwen, this is the fire-attributed spiritual energy. It's the purest energy. Yi Mo cheered. The earthquake must have shattered the fiery spiritual stones. Only then, spiritual energy, which is under such pressure in the seabed for hundreds of thousands of years, is released. Although these scorching spiritual energies were uncomfortable, they were so rich that it almost condensed into liquid. One could imagine how high the concentration was. Yi Shiwen deactivated the aura barrier on his arm. He suddenly felt a sizzling sound on his arm as if the flesh was burnt. These fire-attributed spiritual energies were quite a challenge. As a matter of fact, most of the spiritual energy in the world had no attributes. Only a handful of them had attributes. Unfortunately, These spiritual energies were more challenging to control, especially fire-attributed spiritual energy. They were quite rampant. Many people who acquired fire spiritual stones wouldn't know how to control the stones. They could only resort to selling the stones to those who practice fire martial arts. But Yi Shiwen was naturally different. Although he did not practice martial arts with fire attributes, the power of his tyrant body was too overbearing. Almost all the body tempering forces would be assimilated, so he was not afraid at all. Yi Shiwen didn't hesitate immediately. He directly began to absorb these spiritual energies. Immediately, he felt burning pain in the meridian, but fortunately, he could withstand it. With a single inhale, he swallowed all the fire-attributed spiritual energy in the entire cave. It was a great momentum capable of swallowing mountains and rivers. He didn't feel that there was anything wrong with him, but people catching wind of this would be terrified. Besides Yi Shiwen, no one would dare to absorb the fire-attributed spiritual energy so fiercely. It would still make sense if Yi Shiwen had somehow cultivated martial arts in fire attributes. However, since he did not, it was supposedly a careful assimilation process. This fire-attributed spiritual energy was rampant. It was highly possible to burn one's dantian after depositing it in the body. Others could only absorb it bit by bit carefully. However, Yi Shiwen couldn't care less. His tyrant body had reached the 8th level. His inner meridian was cultivated and strengthened. It would withstand fire-attributed spiritual energy. Moreover, the assimilation speed of tyrant body scripture and observing person scripture was swift. The fire-attributed spiritual energy would become ready to be assimilated very soon. Yi Shiwen suddenly felt that he had become stronger again. The Star Beast's bloodline power in his body had also absorbed many nutrients. As Yi Shiwen assimilation went faster and faster, the influx of fire-attributed spiritual energy also escalated. Fortunately, the entire sea region was filled with fire-attributed spiritual energy while the others refined it slowly, unable to keep up with Yi Shiwen. Otherwise, the others might resort to fighting against Yi Shiwen. After all, they wouldn't be able to cultivate further with Yi Ziwen's domineering cultivation process. Not long after, Yi Shiwen only felt that the whole world seemed to be shaking. The seawater beside him oscillated in great intensity. The fiery magma shot to the sky like a burning sea in the sky. At first, the magma was tender like a beautiful woman scattering flowers, but soon it all fell like a shower. Soon, Yi Shiwen didn't have any mental effort to care about it anymore. The cave was quickly flooded with magma. The countless magma slid down from the submerged volcano as if it were rolling down. Of course, the closer one was to the top of the mountain, the more intense the magma would be. There were not many left when it came to the last 2 slots at the mountain foot. Of course, although it was not a lot, it was actually enough to fill the entire cave. Yi Shiwen could sense that magma had enveloped him at the moment it had rushed in. The aura barrier on him made a sizzling sound, seemingly going to tear in any second. These magmas were rich in fire-attributed spiritual energy. If one could not assimilate the spiritual energy, it would be buried alive. After hundreds of millions of years, it would develop into another spiritual vein. Yi Shiwen gave all out. He directly removed all the aura barriers on his body. Instantly, he could feel the skin on his whole body burning. He was submerged in the magma. At the same time, tyrant body scripture and observing person scripture were activated. Both techniques enabled the fanatical assimilation of the explosive energy contained in the magma. This magma's energy was so rampant that it surged into Yi Ziwen's body with no hurdle. Ordinary warriors would not absorb energy like how Yi Shiwen would. They would only use aura barrier to block off most of the energy and then absorb it bit by bit. Otherwise, the energy in that magma could directly burst their bodies. But Yi Shiwen was unique. After cultivating the tyrant body technique and absorbing the star beast's flesh, his physical body was no longer comparable to ordinary people. There posed no problem in such a violent assimilation process. Time waits for no one. The volcanic energy and the fire-attributed spiritual energy in this magma would return to the earth over time. Hence, Yi Shiwen must make use of the time he had to cultivate. Chapter 851, Half-Step Transcendent Realm. Late day by day, the volcano erupted continuously. It lasted for a whole month before it finally subsided, seemingly taking a rest for the eruption 50 years later. It was just like a human taking a nap after throwing a tantrum. Boom! An explosion sounded from the sea bottom. A figure sprang out from the sea bottom. It was the middle-aged man among the two individual cultivators. His position was at the most bottom, where the magma flowed the least. So he absorbed the least energy, thus leaving the close cultivation first. Oh my, I'm almost dead. The middle-aged man exhaled deeply. This spiritual volcano is too dangerous. No wonder there are only these 10 slots. Even if I hide in a cave, I'm almost killed by these magmas. If there were no caves, there would be many deaths. However, he was filled with excitement despite the complaining attitude. In this spiritual volcano baptism, he had consolidated his cultivation as the Transcendent Realm First-Level Warrior, allowing him to ascend into Transcendent Realm First-Level Peak. He was only a tad bit distance from entering the Transcendent Realm Second Level. Boom! There was another loud explosion. A figure jumped out immediately afterward. It was the older man among the individual cultivator duo. He came out almost at the same time with the middle-aged man. Although their slots were different, which rendered distinct geographical advantages, the gap was not too big. Since most of the energy had returned to Earth, he couldn't do anything despite wanting to absorb more energy. So he came out very decisively. He glanced at the middle-aged man who came out first. He didn't say anything, but his aura was much more reliable than when he first started. He must have gained a lot of benefits from it. After these two individual cultivators, another loud bang sounded with another day passed. The figure jumped out. It was none other than Wu Chenhai. However, he did not have the slightest joy from ending his cultivation. He pulled a long face as he stared coldly at the top of the volcano that turned chilly. It was Yi Zaiwen's position. He said coldly, "Yi Shiwen." After a whole month, he absorbed a large amount of spiritual volcano's energy and fire-attributed spiritual energy. His cultivation successfully broke through to the Transcendent Realm Second Level as he consolidated his realm. He did not need to worry about his realm being unstable. This trip saved him a lot of time to reach the current progress. However, he did not rush in blatantly to trouble Yi Shiwen. He knew it clearly that Yi Shiwen was not so easy to deal with. Previously, Yi Shiwen defeated Transcendent Realm Second-Level warriors, like Yuan Shuahai and Jia Qing. They were miserably defeated. Although he hated Yi Shiwen, he was not stupid. He was indeed stronger than Yuan Shuahai and Jia Qing a month ago. However, as he gained a fantastic breakthrough this month, wouldn't Yi Shiwen be the same? He was not overconfident. He knew very well that Yi Shiwen would inevitably become stronger. If he were to rely on himself for revenge, it would be impossible in the short run. Luckily, it did not matter. His family had arranged someone to deal with Yi Shiwen. Under the pursuit of the Sea clan members at Transcendent Realm Third Level, it would be impossible for Yi Shiwen to escape even if he had remarkable skills. As a matter of fact, humankind was much inferior to many other races, whether physical body, spirit, and perception of the martial art technique. Almost none of them possessed any advantages compared to many other clans. Humans relied on number games when fighting against other masters of different clans, requiring a group besiege against one opponent. Otherwise, there was no way to attain victory. Fortunately, although the quality of human masters might not be high, humans were advantageous in numbers. In the end, it gave humankind a chance to survive. However, as compared to a lone wolf, many people would be more optimistic about other clans. Of course, there were some monstrous geniuses among human beings. They might be able to handle the besiege of dozens of different clans in the same cultivation realm. Sadly, there were too few people like that. Hence, it reinforced Wu Chenhai's belief that Yi Shiwen was at a dead end. When the Wang family learns about the news of Yi Zaiwen's death, it will be a satisfying view. Sadly, I won't be able to witness Yi Zaiwen's death, let alone beheading Yi Shiwen. Although it felt like a great pity for Wu Chenhai, it didn't matter. As long as Yi Shiwen would be dead, it didn't matter how it was done. As long as the opponent died, it was good enough. Boom! There was another explosion. A figure broke through the blockage of countless magma and rushed out. It was Jia Qing. At this time, Jia Qing had already ascended to Transcendent Realm's second-level peak. Wu Chenhai was quite self-aware, knowing that he would not be able to defeat Yi Shiwen. However, Jia Qing didn't think so. He knew that Yi Shiwen must have made progress, but he was more convinced that he must be the one who had made the most progress. How could ordinary people be on a par with me, a Sea Dragon Mansion's disciple? Where is Yi Shiwen? Has he come out? Jia Qing looked at Wu Chenhai and asked. This Jia Qing's attitude made Wu Chenhai very uncomfortable. It was like demanding something from another subordinate. However, thinking that he was still a Sea Dragon Mansion's disciple after all, Wu Chenhai could only hold back his anger and replied plainly, I did not see him yet. He shouldn't come out yet. He was quite clear about the spiritual volcano. Generally speaking, only those with better positions would come out later because they could absorb more energy. This was a benefit that only champions could enjoy. That's great. I will be on guard here. I will let him suffer once he comes out. Jia Qing said coldly. The previous battle was a great humiliation for him. The only way to remove this stain in his life was to behead Yi Shiwen. Wu Chenhai looked at Jia Qing. Although Jia Qing had now entered the Transcendent Realm's second-level peak, he was still not optimistic that Jia Qing could defeat Yi Shiwen. All these were just Wu Chenhai's deep thoughts. He would not let Jia Qing catch wind of it. Moreover, he was upset with Jia Qing too. Jia Qing was acting arrogant with his identity as Sea Dragon Mansion's disciple. This fellow thought he was superior as he commanded the Wu family as though they were subordinates. What's so great with you? My grandpa is also a Sea Dragon Mansion's disciple. I'm going to enter Sea Dragon Mansion soon. What makes you think so highly of yourself? Thinking of this, Wu Chenhai was agitated. Even though he was confident that Jia Qing would suffer another terrible loss in Yi Ziwen's hand, he wouldn't bother giving Jia Qing a kind reminder. He wanted Jia Qing to suffer terribly. Anyway, these two are annoying. I should let them fight and suffer great losses. Then you wait here. I'm heading up first. Wu Chenhai didn't want to wait with Jia Qing at the same place. He turned into a stream of light and flew toward the sea. There was a ship waiting for his return. Useless trash. Jia Qing didn't care about Wu Chenhai's departure. Anyway, he looked down at Wu Chenhai. If not for the benefits and Wu Chenhai's eldest brother's status in Sea Dragon Mansion, he would not have come to this rural place and get humiliated. He had never been defeated terribly like this in the past. It made him angry, and looked in the direction of Yi Shiwen with blatant killing intent. Boom! Boom! All of a sudden, two massive explosions occurred almost immediately next to each other. It was the two caves that the Yuan family occupied. Yuan Shuahai and another Yuan family's warrior jumped out directly. Yuan Shuahai only glanced at the Jia Qing a short while before returning his gaze at Yi Ziwen's position. He immediately understood Jia Qing's thoughts, but he didn't say anything and just sneered. Then he turned around and flew directly towards the sea with another Yuan family's warrior. Boom! There was another explosion. A figure flew up from the magma stone piles. The young expert who belonged to the Wang family had already consolidated Transcendent Realm first-level peak cultivation. After another long while, there was another massive explosion in a cave. Wang Feiyun rushed out directly with a loud cheer filled with excitement. He finally stepped into the Transcendent Realm's second level. Even though he had only recently attained the realm, it was daily consolidated. Thus, he was not the most inferior in the realm. Wang Feiyun soon noticed Jia Qing. Seeing that Jia Qing had been staring at the cave where Yi Shiwen was located, he knew what Jia Qing wanted to do, but he didn't say anything. Although Yi Shiwen helped the Wang family to become the champion, he was still occupied with the grudge of Yi Shiwen defeating him in one move. He would not harm Yi Shiwen, but he only treated Yi Shiwen like a stranger. Jia Qing didn't care about the two people who came out. He only had Yi Shiwen in his eyes, and he wished to smash Yi Shiwen into pieces. After another 3 days, there was another explosion. A huge momentum swept in all directions. A petite figure rushed out. It was none other than Wang Mingyu. Where is Yi Shiwen? Haven't he come out yet? Wang Mingyu asked Wang Feiyun as soon as she came out. Not out yet, said Wang Feiyun. He's not going to die inside, right? The Wang family expert said with some worries. This was not a joke. Instead, it had happened many times in the past. The young expert was trapped inside the magma. He was trapped alive inside and died. It should be okay. Yi Shiwen is not a person who doesn't know his limits. If he couldn't stand it, he would have left long ago. He would not even agree to this invitation. Wang Mingyu shook her head. Based on her knowledge of Yi Shiwen, she thought the possibility would be relatively low. However, with his half-step transcendent realm strength, it is not easy to be able to survive until now, said Wang Feiyun. Although Yi Shiwen had outstanding combat prowess, his power realm was still at half-step transcendent realm, after all. Absorbing a high magnitude of energy would be challenging. Let's keep waiting, said Wang Mingyu plainly. Time passed day by day. A month had passed, and everyone became a little impatient. Eventually, there was some movement in Yi Ziwen's cave. Boom! With a loud noise, the solidified magma instantly cracked. A horrible vigor swept in all directions. Half-step transcendent realm late, said Wang Mingyu. She was certain of Yi Ziwen's power realm. However, it was terrifying that Yi Shiwen was the only one having such a strong vigor during half-step transcendent realm late. Chapter 852, Defeating Jia Qing again. Although it was the vigor in half-step transcendent realm late, this vigor made her feel a little bit timid. Luckily, this vigor only lasted for a moment. It converged after Yi Shiwen broke through the magma layer. It made her second-guess the feeling. Did I sense it wrongly? Yi Shiwen took a deep breath. The surrounding sea echoed in stronger waves. In about 2 months, he kept absorbing the energy inside the volcano in addition to the fire-attributed spiritual energy, constantly tempering his body, and finally successfully ascended to half-step transcendent realm late. His tyrant body scripture that was initially 8th level approached the breakthrough to enter the 9th level. By that time, it would be attaining great mastery. Comparatively speaking, tyrant body scripture 6th level was minor mastery. Tyrant body scripture 9th level would be great mastery. At the end of the spectrum, the 10th level would be the great perfection. There were considerable changes in each level. According to Yi Mo, one could defeat a dragon clan during the tyrant body 9th level. Dragon clan had a notoriously powerful physical body. Acquiring tyrant body 8th level was not enough to contend with dragon clan. However, the acquisition of the 9th level would allow him to defeat the dragon clan members. It was conceivable how strong it was. As for the 10th layer, great perfection, that would be really far away. Yi Shiwen could not imagine himself achieving that yet. When Yi Shiwen attains tyrant body 9th level, he would have the strength to fight even if he encountered dragon clan members with a cultivation that was 3 levels higher than him. However, despite him approaching the 9th level, it was still 1 step away from it. This gap was seemingly impossible to breach. Yi Shiwen could only stop bitterly. In these 2 months, Yi Shiwen not only made a lot of gains in terms of the physical body, but his cultivation also did not lag behind as he attained the half-step transcendent realm late and entered the peak of that cultivation realm. Since Yi Shiwen was situated at the top of the volcano, he had assimilated the most energy. It was a violent way, but the efficiency was 20-folds in comparison to others. That allowed him to break through and reach the peak. Besides, he had refined a part of Star Beast's vigor and blood essence. He experienced improvements that he had never enjoyed before. It seems like a wise choice to help out the Wang family. Brother Yi, congratulations on your great advancement in cultivation. Wang Mingyu arched his hands and smiled. She faintly felt that Yi Shiwen would not be the average Joe. Among the young masters in the flourished Cloud Sea region, Yi Shiwen would be recognized. Fortunately, such a character was on the Wang family's side. Wang Feiyun and another disciple of the Wang family also came forward to congratulate Yi Shiwen. When Yi Shiwen came out just now, they witnessed his mighty vigor. Yi Shiwen, do you dare to fight? Jia Qing's yell came from a distance and disrupted them. A figure flew up from the mountain foot with a powerful aura. Jia Qing soon appeared in front of the four of them, looking at Yi Shiwen coldly. The gaze was like a predator staring at its prey. You are unmatched to me. Don't waste my time. Yi Shiwen shook his head and said, Arrogant. Jia Qing shouted, Then, let me see how capable you are. A long saber appeared in his hand. Without waiting for Yi Ziwen's consent, he launched his attack and forced Yi Shiwen to a fight. Wave-breaking slash. The wave-breaking saber technique in Jia Qing's hands was several times stronger than before. In addition to his cultivation, the most important thing was that the battle took place near the sea. He had a geographical advantage. The battlefield was quite humid, increasing his wave-breaking technique's power output. It was incomparable to how the technique back then in South Initiate Island. He didn't have to exert much strength to capture the water vapor. That was why he had the confidence to defeat Yi Shiwen here. Only by defeating Yi Shiwen once could he eradicate his inner demon. With that, he would not be restricted in the future. On the contrary, he would have a brighter path. Even a person of ordinary aptitude would become a genius himself over time if he could continuously defeat geniuses in his journey. Things in the world were quite remarkable. The long saber in Jia Qing's hand emitted a massive saber aura, engulfing countless seawater, directly cutting the world apart, and immediately bombarded Yi Shiwen. Whether it was Wang Mingyu, Wang Feiyun, or the Wang family's expert, they all dodged the attack. Their eyes could not hide the horror contained within. The saber technique was destructive. On South Initiate Island, the power portrayed that time was only a fraction of what was happening in front of their eyes. Yi Shiwen started to bat an eye on his opponent. The power of this saber technique has increased several times. It is advantageous on the sea. Yi Shiwen, this saber technique may be only an intermediate human-level saber technique under normal circumstances. However, in a sea region with high humidity, it could even directly soar to the advanced human level. Said Yi Mo, Are these martial techniques classified? Yi Shiwen asked. Of course. These martial techniques are divided into 4 levels: human level, earth level, heaven level, and deity level, each of which was divided into 4 small stages: elementary, intermediate, advanced, and elite. Yi Mo explained. After the transcendent realm, most of the martial arts techniques would be classified. As for the great sage level of martial arts, such as the coiled dragon palm you learned previously, they were unworthy to be classified at all. The martial arts below transcendent realm would no longer be effective anymore. However, these martial arts are not static, just like the wave-breaking saber technique. Activating it near water would increase its power, making it more difficult to deal with. Said Yi Mo, What are the grades of my existing martial arts? Yi Shiwen asked. As he spoke, he had already turned into a cluster of light and bombarded on the approaching mighty saber aura. Boom! The saber aura was deflected back to the sea bottom. Immediately, a terrifying explosion rose from the sea bottom. Numerous junk and debris floated up to the sea surface instantly. An apparent saber slash could be seen directly. When Yi Shiwen appeared again, he was already miles away. Demon Wings and Phoenix Regeneration Technique are deity-level martial arts. Most importantly, the technique, Overturning the Heavens Seal. If you manage to cultivate the Overturning the Heavens Seal to the peak, it will naturally evolve into a deity-level martial arts. Shattered Star Fist can only be regarded in advanced human level. The good news is that Meteor Explosion should be as powerful as the elementary earth-level technique after fully deducing and comprehending the technique. In terms of sword technique, the burial sword technique is in advanced human level. However, if you use the ultimate move, Immortality Sword, the power output may soar to the elite earth level. Speaking of it, the Star Beast leaves you with many benefits. The Thousand Star-Lord Fist, Sky Collapsing Fire Cloud Hand, and the like are only at the intermediate human level, similar to this wave-breaking saber technique. That Demon Chi Bomb will improve as your cultivation grows. If you can become deity one day, then the Demon Chi Bomb you launch has the deity-level martial art technique power. Explained Yi Mo. Yi Shiwen understood that the most potent martial arts he learned would grow rather than being static. What he could achieve was closely related to his strength. If he were strong enough, then these martial arts would not be weaker than others. If he were to be inferior, only the demon wings, phoenix regeneration technique, and the like could exert the most impact. On the contrary, burial sword technique was a wild card. Immortality sword had great power. Despite it being a wild card, he would be dead once immortality sword was used. It was only meant as a last resort. He would not think of it unless it was the desperate last move. Is the meteor explosion only at elementary Earth level? Yi Shiwen was a bit dissatisfied. He tried so hard to deduce this technique, yet it was only at elementary Earth level. Even so, he still hadn't been able to deduce meteor explosion at the current moment fully. In other words, the inferior meteor explosion might only attain the elite human level at most. Don't underestimate elementary Earth level. For your information, many masters who have surpassed the transcendent realm only have the martial arts of elite human level. If you don't have a mysterious space, it is impossible to craft an elementary Earth level's martial techniques. There are many things beyond the transcendent realm masters can't do. Yi Mo reaffirmed Yi Shiwen as he sensed Yi Zaiwen's dissatisfaction. Like the Wang family's return to the Cloud Hand, it is at most similar to the wave-breaking saber's martial art technique level. While at the same time, it's already worthy of being the Wang family's martial arts inheritance. Yi Shiwen found it agreeable. Although he hadn't been able to craft high-level martial arts yet, it didn't mean he wouldn't be able to do it in the future. He had a mysterious space and Mingxin ancient tree. He had a much better advantage than many people. Thinking of this, Yi Shiwen felt elated. He stared at Jia Qing, who had attacked again. With the sea, the wave-breaking saber technique's power had also increased a lot. Jia Qing became more fanatic as he slashed towards Yi Shiwen. Yi Zaiwen's eyes glimmered. A vigorous qi on his body began to disperse, invoking countless seawater vortexes. Slowly, a waterspout manifested next to him. Shattered Star Fist. Yi Shiwen yelled. Countless stars' powers warped around his fist. A punch imbued with star clusters was launched. Countless seawater swarmed into a water column. It accompanied the shattered star fist and slammed towards the opponent. Boom! The fist impact clashed with the saber aura. As if they had made some chemical reaction, they exploded wildly in the sea. The seawater shockwaves that were visible to the naked eye swept out in all directions. Boom! Yi Zaiwen's fist impact did not diminish. After dissipating through the saber aura, it collided heavily with Jia Qing. Jia Qing suffered a massive hit, and his body flew out directly. He spurted a mouthful of blood directly, dyeing the whole sea region red. It still happened in one move. No matter how many moves Jia Qing made, Yi Shiwen defeated him with just one move. Chapter 853, Leaving South Initiate Island. This is impossible. How come? Jia Qing couldn't believe it. He finally mustered up the courage to challenge Yi Shiwen. He initially thought that his cultivation had greatly improved. With the battlefield at sea, he had a great advantage. He felt that he still had a good chance to defeat Yi Shiwen. He did not anticipate that no matter how fast he progressed, he was still unable to withstand one move. Yi Shiwen crumbled all his attacks in one move as if all his attacks were so fragile and he was unworthy to be an opponent at all. Wang Menjia's attractive crimson lips raised a little. She didn't know what to say. Yi Shiwen seemed to be more terrifying than 2 months ago. Jia Qing could still fight Yi Shiwen for a while previously. Right now, Jia Qing was defeated in the blink of an eye. Wang Feiyun was also quite shocked. The only unwillingness in his heart disappeared. If a person were a little stronger than him, then he would not admit defeat. With such a big gap, he cowered from the fight for glory. Yi Shiwen didn't care what Jia Qing felt. He dashed forward, morphing into a cluster of light, and headed toward the sea. Wang Mingyu, Wang Feiyun, and others also followed Yi Shiwen. They directly floated up. Jia Qing was stunned for a long time in a daze before he flew to the sea surface. I'm leaving. The next day, Yi Shiwen approached Wang Mingyu and said to her. He pursed his lips and looked into a distance. No one knew what he was longing for. Are you leaving? Wang Mingyu said in astonishment and soon came into realization. Although she had known for a long time that Yi Shiwen would inevitably leave, South Initiate Island was such a small place for a genius like him. But when he really said it, she was still slightly surprised. I want to go to a bigger island for adventure. Yi Shiwen nodded and said. Now for him, South Initiate Island was too small. He was unrivaled with the young masters in this place. It was indeed time for him to leave. Yi Shiwen had thought about it too. If he were to return to the ancient Baron's mainland, he was still outmatched by the North Mountain clan chief. He would only die terribly, let alone take revenge for Xin Yanmei. Worse still, he had no other way to go back now. He could only put the matter on hold first. As for the search for his father, he could only put it aside. Well, I will let the people in my family put close observation at Wu family lest the Wu family send masters to intercept you, said Wang Mingyu. It was highly possible that the Wu family would resort to this, so she had to take precautions. If something happened on Yi Shiwen, no one would dare to be of service to the Wang family in the future. Yi Shiwen agreed. In fact, he didn't care about this. Even if the Wu family besieged him, he could escape any encirclement easily. After all, the Wu family was just a small family. They had no distinguished character like the North Mountain clan chief. Yi Shiwen wouldn't see them as a threat. But no matter when you come back in the future, the door of the Wang family is always open to welcome you back, said Wang Mingyu. Such a person's future was unlimited. There would be no harm in building a firm connection in advance. Thank you, Yi Shiwen said with a smile. He had no plans to come back after he left. Have you decided where you are going now? Said Wang Mingyu. Not yet. I will let fate decide my path, said Yi Shiwen. If you want to go back to the ancient Baron's mainland, you can first go to the nearby Sunny Bamboo Island. This is the most prosperous island in the nearby sea region. There may be a sea region map for sale, said Wang Mingyu. Yi Shiwen nodded. Cruising the sea was different from traveling on land. Worse comes to worst, Yi Shiwen had to repeat the same path if he got lost. However, on the sea, he might enter a forbidden place or encounter terrifying sea creatures. By that time, he might not be able to walk out alive. The sea region map had become a precious strategic resource. Generally speaking, in the boundless sea region, the greater a force was, the more perfect and more extensive the sea region map would be. The Wang family's sea region map only had details in their surroundings. Their map would not allow Yi Shiwen to head directly to the ancient Baron's continent. Each of these sea region maps was made from many human sacrifices. Those people who wanted to identify whether the places were dangerous or not were risking their lives. Many sacrifices had to pile up to achieve progress. This was why the sea region map was sought throughout many places. Sunny Bamboo Island. Yi Shiwen mumbled. This Sunny Bamboo Island is the largest island near us in this sea region. It is quite prosperous. It is in the southwest of the Flourished Cloud Sea region. It is second only to Sea Dragon Island where the Sea Dragon Mansion is located, said Wang Mingyu. In this endless sea region, these islands were like star-studded night skies. These islands were arranged like cities' distribution on land. Each island would have a large city. Sunny Bamboo is the most abundant resource on Sunny Bamboo Island. It is tough and has absorbed countless utmost strength and utmost just energy. If it is made into a weapon, it will be effective. In the long run, the specialty of Sunny Bamboo Island is also well known. Due to Sunny Bamboo, it has attracted many people to come and gradually flourish to the point where the island is only second to Sea Dragon Island. You should pay a visit to Sunny Bamboo Island and look for sea region maps that has a path towards the ancient Baron's mainland, said Wang Mingyu. Even if your efforts are fruitless, you still go to Sea Dragon Mansion. It is possible to find what you want there too. Thank you. Yi Shiwen thanked her again, expressing his gratefulness. No matter what, Wang Menjia's sharing was deserving of his thanks. Not a big deal. I should thank you instead. You make my Wang family proud, making a comeback while overcoming the challenges. Compared with this, I am only sharing something that everyone knows, replied Wang Mingyu. She decided to be as helpful as she could to Yi Shiwen due to her optimism in his future, instead of the fact that Yi Shiwen helped the Wang family win the contest. In her opinion, Yi Shiwen would become one of a kind in the flourished Cloud Sea region in the future. It was an excellent profit for her to strengthen her connection with a future influencing figure in the vast sea regions, with mere information that everyone knew. You're welcome. It is a piece of cake. In the future, if the Wang family needs something, I will try my best to help when it is within my capability. Yi Shiwen emphasized. He naturally understood that he already got the bargain. As he helped the Wang family win the contest, he had gotten a slot for Spiritual Volcano's baptism. He wouldn't want to forego a friendly status with the Wang family. Of course, he was voluntary in his promise since there was no obligation tied already. Soon, the Wu family learned that Yi Shiwen would be leaving South Initiate Island. In the discussion hall, many Wu family elders and masters gathered together. This little brat is going to leave. Even fates want his death. Wu Yin sneered. He was elated deep down his heart. Yi Ziwen's emergence ruined his plan, thus making him hate Yi Shiwen to the guts. Indeed, you should immediately inform your brother that I want him to die terribly and bring me his head. I will personally send it to Wang family. It will be enjoyable to see their expression. Wu Nanjie said with a cold gaze. Compared with Wu Yin, he hated Yi Shiwen even more because Yi Shiwen almost ruined his son's future. Father, please let me go with him. I will watch him die with my own eyes. I will personally break his neck by myself. Wu Chunhai stepped forward and thundered. His gaze was filled with resentment. He was the person who hated Yi Shiwen the most among the Wu family. He was a proud genius who had not encountered any setbacks. His path had gone smoothly all along. He never imagined that he would suffer terribly under Yi Shiwen. Since he had not taken his revenge, the resentment was boiling. If he couldn't watch Yi Shiwen die in front of his eyes, he would not be able to sleep at night. Sooner or later, he might even form an inner demon. I request to go along too. Jia Qing stepped forward and said, Brother, let them go together. Anyway, it's a foolproof thing. My brother also brought a few of his men. They can definitely kill Yi Shiwen. It doesn't hurt to let them get more exposed. Said Wu Yin. This, all right. Wu Nanjie contemplated. Since it is foolproof, it should be fine to let them tag along. I'm afraid that the Wang family will be alerted. If we startle them, the little brat may give up leaving. Then our plan was in vain. It's fine. Indeed, the Wang family is watching us. However, their focus should be veterans like us. For them, the Wang family would be unperturbed. Moreover, we can let them leave via our hidden path. This is absolutely foolproof, added Wu Yin. All right, you may go. Bring back the little brat's head. Give the Wang family a good view of it. Wu Nanjie said as he slammed on the table. Thank you, father, cheered Wu Chunhai. Yi Shiwen, meet your demise. Chapter 854. Encounter and ambush. Yi Ziwen's figure quickly flew by mid-air, causing a series of sea waves to splash. On the endless sea, Yi Ziwen's speed was impressive. His flying height was neither high nor low. Staying too low might render him easily ambushed by the sea beast, while staying too high made him vulnerable to the beast in the sky. With beasts everywhere, only this height would be a little safer. Even in the true martial domain, the sea region was still the most challenging place to set foot. When true martial school was in its heyday, it was already difficult to conquer places like this. The situation worsened in this endless sea region at the ancient Barrens continent. The salty sea breeze carrying blood scent rushed towards him. I wonder where the source is. The wind whipped Yi Ziwen's clothes. He morphed himself into a cluster of light as he navigated forward. Above this boundless sea region, he only needed to be careful and avoid those stormy regions. There was nothing in particular. Yi Shiwen, now you only need to consolidate your cultivation for some time before tackling the Transcendent Realm Ascension, said Yi Shiwen nodded. He finally understood a little bit about how the Transcendent Realm Masters under the age of 500 years old emerged in the ancient Barrens continent. When he was at true martial domain, he was relatively young. Even Huang Wuji was already over 1,000 years old when he entered the transcendent realm. For Yi Shiwen, he was just above 100 years old now while not reaching 200 years old. In true martial domain, he was shocking to the world. However, in this ancient Baron's continent, he seemed ordinary. Wang Mingyu was only around 100 years old. Truth to be told, she was even younger than Yi Shiwen. Originally, he was amazed by this place. Now, he felt nothing. It was pretty standard. In such a short period when he came to ancient barons, his cultivation already attained a breakthrough. Although the star beast's vital energy and blood essence took a role in it, the most important thing was that this world's environment was much more optimum. It was as if someone who had been living in Jupiter suddenly ran to the moon, thus becoming a Superman all of a sudden. Similarly, this also meant that there would be many young experts in the ancient Baron's continent. Thinking of this, Yi Ziwen's blood was boiling. It fit his initial reason. He came to the ancient Baron's continent because he had no opponent in the true martial domain. He had a sea region map in his hand, the same map that Wang family had inherited for many years. The map was marked out clearly, preventing Yi Shiwen from getting lost. Although he could explore the path with his spiritual sense, the scope of his spiritual sense was still inadequate, especially in this boundless sea region. He would be like a blind man. Yi Shiwen, a beast has been tailing you. Yi Mo suddenly alerted. Yi Shiwen immediately investigated it with his spiritual sense. Sure enough, less than 100 miles behind, there was a crocodile beast continuously swimming toward his direction. It was a black crocodile beast that was several tens of meters long. The black scales glowed faintly in the sea. Its sharp claws and vicious jaws had declared its status as a formidable predator. Yi Shiwen sneered. You're only a transcendent realm beast, and yet you dare to put your eyes on me. Yi Shiwen, this creature is unlike a wild beast. He keeps tailing you 100 miles away. While he is not approaching, he already has his eyes on you. According to my years of experience, there must be a master behind, coveting on you. Added Yi Mo. Yi Shiwen was slightly surprised. Soon he came to a realization. After arriving at the ancient Baron's continent, I did not offend many people. The North Mountain clan is far away in the ancient Baron's continent. They can't be here. There is only one possibility, the Wu family. No wonder they didn't make a move during my departure. I thought the Wang family was a good deterrent, but now it doesn't seem to be the case. Nevertheless, Yi Shiwen was unperturbed. Even if Wu Nanjie came personally, Yi Shiwen was confident that he could retreat safely. When he was about to expand his demon wings to shake off that crocodile beast's pursuit, the feedback from his spiritual senses alerted him of an approaching group. The leading person was not a human being but a Sea clan member. Although he was human-like, the scales on his face and the claw-like hands had revealed his identity. Yi Shiwen learned about the Sea clan's existence for a long time, but he was caught in surprise when seeing their existence firsthand. These Sea clans were the actual ruler of the sea region. Humans only had sovereignty on land. The sea bottom belonged to the Sea clans. No one dared to underestimate them. Besides this particular Sea clan member, there were 4 other experts who were also Sea clan members. After these 4, Yi Shiwen noticed 2 acquaintances, Jia Qing and Wu Chenhai. Yi Shiwen squinted his eyes. Hello there, buddy. Hey, Yi Shiwen, I didn't expect them to be quite enthusiastic, sending you off. Yi Mo mocked sarcastically. Sending me off? Then, he'll send them off to their last journey. Yi Shiwen smiled faintly. He initially wanted to throw off this group from his tail. He abandoned that idea while something new popped up in his mind. In his eyes, it was as if there was the universe getting born and disintegrated later. It was imbued with the unique light of flickering stars. Occasionally, a ray of killing intent flashed in them. Sure enough, not long after Yi Shiwen stopped, those Sea clan masters in addition to Jia Qing and Wu Chenhai arrived. The tyrannical transcendent realm aura was already quite apparent in a distance. When they saw Yi Shiwen, they encircled Yi Shiwen with their auras. Ha! Yi Shiwen, are you scared? Seeing Yi Shiwen, Wu Chenhai immediately laughed proudly. The shame you instilled on me, I will surely return it 100,000 times, making you feel worse than death. After Wu Chunhai laughed, his face turned gloomy as if images of Yi Shiwen shaming him surfaced. He had never been humiliated like this in the past. He could not get rid of this hatred if he couldn't kill Yi Shiwen. Feeling something worse than death? Smiled Yi Shiwen faintly. Ha! Nephew, it's fine. After your uncle catches him, then you can do whatever you want. The vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile expert laughed, grinned, and looked at Yi Shiwen. His ruthless gaze seemingly declared his confidence in taking down Yi Shiwen. Hey brat. This uncle is from the vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile clan, Yi Xiangyun. After you die, don't remember the wrong name. The Sea Clan expert laughed. Uncle, stop wasting time talking to this brat. Actually, no matter how many things he knows, he is going to the afterlife anyway. Is there reincarnation in this world? Ha! Wu Chunhai laughed as he deemed Yi Shiwen dead already, which soothed his anxiety. That's right. He is just a dead person. Yi Xiangtian laughed aloud. The waves under his feet suddenly separated. A huge beast appeared at everyone's feet. It was the crocodile tracking Yi Shiwen closely. Let's go together. Yi Xiangtian gave an order. 4 vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile experts immediately rushed towards Yi Shiwen. Their terrifying beast-like aura completely swept out. These 4 were experts in Transcendent Realm 2nd level peak. They were approaching the Transcendent Realm 3rd level. In this case, they were much more oppressive than Jia Qing. They were the Transcendent Realm 2nd level veterans. Boom! The 4 Sea Clan experts approached in an instant. Although they were huge, they were not sluggish at all. They came almost instantly. Yi Shiwen sneered as he made a move. Xiao! A golden light burst out from Yi Ziwen's hand. At an indescribable speed, the light instantly went straight to the throat of the fastest Sea Clan expert. Puff! The golden light in Yi Ziwen's hand pierced his throat without any hindrance. Blood sprayed out incessantly like a bloody flower blooming. With the blood spraying out, all the vitality in his body seemed to be taken away. The body turned cold in an instant. Puff! The Sea Clan expert fell directly from mid-air into the sea. What? Another Sea Clan expert was about to rush to Yi Ziwen's face. He watched his companion turn into a cold corpse in Yi Ziwen's hands, but they had already rushed over. At this time, it seemed too late to retreat. He propelled himself backward in an instant, trying to avoid Yi Shiwen. You're fleeing? Do you think you have the chance? Yi Ziwen's cold voice sounded in an instant. Another golden light pierced the vast sky. Another bud of blood blossomed. Although the Crocodile Clan expert was already cautious, his speed was incomparable with Yi Shiwen. Yi Shiwen caught up without much hindrance. Puff! The sound declared another death. The expert's body quickly turned cold as he lost his vitality, falling directly from the sky. Stop! Yi Xiangtian almost broke into tears as he opened his eyes widely. These 4 experts were his brothers who had followed him for many years. Any one of their death or injury would hurt deep down in his heart. Worse still, Yi Shiwen defeated 2 of them in one fell swoop. He felt as if his heart was about to be torn apart. Yi Shiwen sneered. Why would he stop just because of Yi Ziangshan's words? These enemies came for his life. He wouldn't give them mercy. Yi Ziwen's toes tapped sharply. Another golden light flashed in his hands. His figure suddenly swooped toward the 2 remaining Sea Clan experts. Chapter 855. Massacre. A golden light flashed past Yi Ziwen's fingertips. Puff! A bud of blood marked the death of another Sea Clan expert. This expert was approaching the Transcendent Realm 3rd level, and yet he had no way to retaliate. He died under Yi Ziwen's hands just like that. How could he be so strong? Jia Qing couldn't believe it. It was no ordinary warrior but someone stronger than Jia Qing, a mere Transcendent Realm 2nd level peak. This person who was even unchallenged in the face of Transcendent Realm 3rd level had perished in a snap. The process was so smooth as though the deceased expert was as though a paper tiger. Generally speaking, warriors who could cultivate to this level often have their lost technique hidden in their sleeves. In this case, Only opponents that overwhelmed them by many cultivation realm gaps could take their life. Otherwise, they would only get defeated but not dead. Of course, the exception would be facing their inborn enemies. But Yi Shiwen had almost no weaknesses, being outstanding in all aspects. No matter what kind of warrior he encountered, he could easily abuse the opponent's weakness. In the end, he could slaughter the enemy easily. Damn it! Yi Xiangshan's entire face was distorted. All the scales on his face stood upright. He dashed out in an attempt to save the last one. The crocodile beast under his feet also opened its mouth wide at this time. Countless seawater spiraled into its mouth. Boom! A water jet imbued with demon chi blasted towards Yi Shiwen. Wherever it passed, the space was distorted. The water jet crushed the air particles, making the space into a vacuum state. The water jet was fast. It bombarded Yi Shiwen in an instant, like a giant dragon swallowing him. Boom! With a loud noise, the water jet struck Yi Shiwen. Terrifying energy rippling out instantly evaporated the surrounding seawater, emitting shockwaves from its center. The surrounding sea was still filling in the water jet at a rapid rate. The water jet was still storming out, but it seemed to be constrained by some kind of power. Slowly, it became stagnant. Suddenly, a big hand covering the sky appeared, grabbing the water jet in his hand. Pfft. With a loud bang, the big hand's grip crumbled the raging water jet, turning it into water vapor in the sky. However, Yi Shiwen was also stopped. I'm saved. The Sea Clan expert finally breathed a sigh of relief. The scene just now was too horrifying. He never thought that anyone could slaughter them like this. There could be someone capable of this, but it shouldn't be this half-step transcendent realm late kid. Are you sure? Just as the Sea Clan expert thought he was saved with Yi Xiangtian only a moment away from him, Yi Xiwen's voice came creeping behind him. A cluster of golden lights flickered in the sky. Yi Shiwen reappeared in front of everyone. His palms swooshed down directly. Boom! This Sea Clan expert was bashed into a pile of flesh on the spot. Its blood essence sprayed all over the sky with the Tianguan mirror, absorbing it wholly. Yi Shiwen was like a grim reaper. He would bring death wherever he went. All who oppose him would die. Brat, you are courting death. Yi Xiangshan's eyes shed blood and tears. It was chilly. You dare to kill Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile Clan's expert. Our entire clan will hunt you down. In this endless sea region, the Sea Clan status was much higher than that of human beings. Human beings were divided into various forces, but the Sea Clan members were much more united. It was precisely because of the high number of Sea Clan experts that human experts had to think twice before confronting them. However, such a threat was totally meaningless to Yi Shiwen. Those involved in the hunt will not be spared from being hunted. Since you want to kill me, you should be ready to get killed, said Yi Shiwen coldly without any sympathy. He was unfazed by the threat. Yi Shiwen was far more ruthless than anyone. He won't have the slightest sympathy for those wanting to take his life at all. Damn, I will break you into pieces. Yi Xiangtian roared. The terrifying qi within him fluctuated intensely. It formed a cruel and violent qi, overwhelming the sky. Yi Xiangshan's cultivation had entered the transcendent realm third-level peak, which was a level stronger than these subordinates. I want to take your body to feed the beast, let them tear you off piece by piece. Yi Xiangtian roared. His anger burnt brightly in the sky. Yi Xiangtian had a hideous face. The killing intent had substantively manifested. After a loud shout, he directly turned into a cluster of black light, rushing towards Yi Shiwen. Sha! He appeared in front of Yi Shiwen in an instant. Both of his arms grew a lot bigger at once, thick and long, like two steel forks. He transformed his arms into weapons with his claws grabbing towards Yi Shiwen. His speed was breakneck. The strength of Transcendent Realm third-level peak was fully demonstrated at this moment. It was way beyond the leader Yi Xuan previously killed by many calibers. His claws were so fast that only Black Shadow could be seen. He appeared straight in front of Yi Shiwen in an instant. Yi Xiwen's hands were glowing with golden light. Soon, the golden divinity clad on him like a deity cast in gold. Dang! As the claw caught onto Yi Zaiwen's body, only metal sound could be heard, dang. It was like a violent collision of gold and iron. The golden divinity on Yi Zaiwen's body shone intensely. Are you only capable of this? If that's the case, forget about killing me. Yi Shiwen laughed. Damn it. Yi Xiangtian exclaimed. The most prominent feature of the vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile clan was its poison. His poison would simply be a joke if he could not penetrate Yi Zaiwen's defense. Yi Xiangtian was depressed, but Yi Shiwen had no scruples and directly launched a counterattack. Immediately, Yi Xiangtian was forced to retreat. The strengths he was so proud of became useless in front of Yi Shiwen. Boom! Yi Xiangtian was blasted off by Yi Shiwen, stirring up countless waves on the sea's surface, and finally he stopped. He looked at Yi Shiwen with bitter eyes and roared, Brat, you are dead. Do you think that I can't kill you? Yi Xiangtian grabbed his hands toward the void. A black mist wrapped around his arm, and a pair of metal iron claws appeared on his fist. Above this pair of iron claws, it emitted a faint essence of transcendent tool. It turns out to be a weak human-level martial instrument. Yi Shiwen squinted his eyes. Like martial arts, martial instruments were divided into 4 levels: human level, earth level, heaven level, and deity level. They were divided into 4 small stages, namely elementary, intermediate, advanced, and elite. The transcendent tool referred to in the true martial domain was human-level martial instrument. It was uncommon in the true martial domain, let alone in the ancient Barons continent. However, since they were abundant transcendent realm masters in the ancient Barons continent, not everyone could possess a human-level martial instrument. Only skilled transcendent realm masters could truly reach high compatibility with a martial instrument. Many masters who surpassed the transcendent realm were still using human-level martial instrument. However, even if they were all human-level martial instruments, they were distinguished into different grades. For example, the current Tianyuan mirror was only at human-level elementary peak, but it was not far from being promoted to human-level intermediate. Seeing that Yi Xiangtian still had a trump card, Jia Qing and the others were relieved. Just now, as they watched Yi Shiwen beating Yi Xiangtian into retreat, they had thought about fleeing on the spot. Although Yi Xiangtian was here to help them, they disregarded it. After all, they'd rather have him dead than them. But with the martial instruments, the situation was completely different. Although it was only the martial instruments of human-level elementary, it was still a classified martial instrument after all. Although it is only the human-level elementary martial instrument, you still have to be careful. After all, having a martial instrument in hand makes a huge difference. Yi Mo reminded. Yi Shiwen nodded. Yi Xiangshan's eyes were cold. A black mist entangled his hand. Violent energy permeated on top of the claws, raising it to a terrifying speed. Die! Yi Xiangtian roared fiercely and stomped on his feet. He turned into a stream of light and rushed towards Yi Shiwen. In just an instant, he appeared in front of Yi Shiwen. His speed had increased by several % compared to just now. Sha! A terrifying force boiled out from Yi Xiangshan's claws. The monstrous black light swept in all directions, emitting 5 rays. The light engulfed the sky and the earth, grabbing Yi Shiwen. His grasp tore the air. The space fluctuated violently. There was a faint trace of his grip that was reinforced with sharp claws. Yi Shiwen retreated sharply. While retreating, the Tianyuan mirror in his body reacted and rose directly into the sky, turning into a bloody sun. The boundless blood-colored light gathered in the void and morphed into a blood-colored ball. A beam of light blasted down towards Yi Xiangtian. Boom! At the moment of the impact, the sky seemed to be quiet for an instant. However, at the place of impact, endless power took the form of a sphere, sweeping out in all directions. The 2 martial instruments of human-level elementary collided directly in the void. Chapter 856. Slaughtering everyone. 2 terrifying forces swiftly surged towards the blue sky and the sea, enveloping a region in the radius of 3 miles. Countless seawater was siphoned up to the sky. As the seawater fell back to the sea, a stormy rain pervaded the battlefield. In the vast sea connected with sky, black light and blood light had each occupied a side. Horrific shockwaves swept out in all directions. The confrontation between these two destructive forces did not last long. Soon, the black light began to weaken gradually. On the other side of the black light, Yi Xiangtian started to look pale. He did possess a human-level elementary martial instrument. Operating it put a tremendous toll on his spiritual energy. In just a brief collision, the energy consumption had overwhelmed him. He would be fine if the opponent was not equipped with martial instruments. In reality, Yi Shiwen also had a martial instrument, pushing the consumption rate by many folds. The qi remaining in his body struggled to keep up. On the other hand, it was a different case for Yi Shiwen. He had inputted at least tens of millions of elixir and spirit crystals in Tianyuan Mirror, let alone a dragon vein that could continuously provide energy. He would never lose out in terms of endurance. Moreover, the qi in his body was 10 folds of ordinary masters or experts. He was unfazed by an endurance battle. The rank and power of Tianyuan Mirror were much more advanced than martial instruments that barely squeeze into human level. Yi Shiwen sneered as he felt the black light had weakened a lot. He didn't weaken the Tianyuan Mirror's power output. On the contrary, he escalated the power output to kill this Yi Xiangtian on the spot. The killing intent was glaring in Yi Ziwen's eye. He would not let go of the enemies who came afar to hunt him down. Boom! There was another earth-shattering loud noise. The black light could not last any longer, it collapsed on the spot. Blood light instantly occupied the entire sky, like a curtain. Blood light bombarded the opponent. Visible energy waves could be seen wherever the blood light passed. Bang! Yi Xiangtian faced the direct hit. His entire chest was severely mutilated, with some bones broken. His figure flew in the distance like a disconnected kite with a broken string. Brat, think about it clearly, I am a vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile clan member. If you kill me, the vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile clan will never let you go. Yi Xiangtian was finally scared. All his cards did nothing in front of Yi Shiwen. He seemed so vulnerable. He was not afraid, even if his subordinates were killed just now. He believed that he could crush Yi Shiwen with the overwhelming cultivation lead. After all, Yi Shiwen was only at half-step transcendent realm. How could Yi Shiwen possibly outmatch me? But he cowered in fear in the end. The human-level martial instrument was his ultimate trump card. He found it unbelievable that Yi Shiwen also had a human-level martial instrument. How can he possibly do that? He is merely a half-step transcendent realm warrior. Why does he own a transcendent tool? This is totally unreasonable. Many transcendent realm masters don't have human-level martial instrument, but this brat does. He finally understood that this brat was no average Joe but someone beyond his level. At this time, he could only resort to using his clan to intimidate Yi Shiwen. Although the Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile clan was not the most powerful sea clan in the Endless Sea, it was still a decent clan, especially to those humankinds. Experts would be cautious about the upcoming troubles it would bring. But he was wrong. For a lone wolf like Yi Shiwen, there was nothing terrifying to it. The best way to keep a secret was death. Without giving the crocodile clan to open its mouth, a shocking blood pillar blasted directly into his chest, instantly blasting a big hole on his body. Yi Xiangtian was shocked. After bringing the name of the Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile clan, he still failed to intimidate Yi Shiwen. Yi Shiwen still killed him with no mercy. He could feel that the vitality in his body was fading at a terrifying speed. He wanted to grasp something in fear, but he could only feel that his body became chill. His vigor had run dry, and no strength could be mustered. He sunk directly into the endless sea. Yi Shiwen immediately took all his wealth. Although Yi Xiangtian was only at Transcendent Realm 3rd level peak, he had also made a lot of profit over the years. The spirit crystal on him was more than 10 million. In addition to the 60 million spirit crystals that Yi Shiwen originally had, Yi Shiwen now had about 70 million spirit crystals. Yi Shiwen, you will die a horrible death. You dare to kill the vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile clan member. There is no way for you to survive. Go to hell. Wu Chunhai looked at Yi Shiwen with horror and anger. He seemingly could not make sense of what had happened. Yi Shi sneered, between heaven and earth, I only kill the people who should be killed. What does it have to do with what clan group he is? As a human, you're spineless. The living adversities in the ancient Barrens continent were countless-fold to true martial domain. Although the true martial domain had limitations, at least humans dominated the world, so Yi Shiwen never felt anything. Killing any beast or sea creature wasn't any big deal. There were many more concerns in the ancient Barrens continent. Like Wu Chunhai and everyone else of Unparalleled Palace, they were afraid of these native clans. Not to mention you will go to hell with them soon, said Yi Shiwen faintly. Run! Jia Qing and Wu Chunhai yelled quickly. They didn't hesitate and fled in separate two completely different directions. They all hoped that Yi Shiwen would chase and kill the other party instead of themselves. Yi Shiwen glanced at the two of them. He figured out their thoughts at a glance, but Yi Shiwen didn't care at all. The demon wings behind him fanned instantly. The lightning wings glimmered in an instant. His figure turned into a golden light. He caught up with Wu Chunhai, the man who regarded him as a great threat since the first encounter. Yi Shiwen, you can't kill me. Otherwise, our Wu family won't let you go. Wu Chunhai was shocked to find that Yi Shiwen had chased him first. He screamed in panic. His conspiracy and plot were all useless. Any dirty ticks were illusory in the face of absolute strength. Wu family? If you come here, it's not about whether you will let me go, but whether I will let your family go. Yi Shiwen sneered. With his cultivation, he would not need to restrain himself in front of the Wu family. Instead, the Wu family should worry day and night whether Yi Shiwen would hunt them down. At this time, Wu Chunhai finally realized it. Yi Shiwen might not be able to do anything to the Wu family. With his growth rate, the Wu family would be shivering in fear. It would not take longer than 100 years. The reason why those small forces rarely dared to offend an extraordinary genius was because these geniuses not only have great persistence but also an unlimited future. Their growth rate was far inferior. When you took one step, they had gone 3 steps and 4 steps already. They would soon grow to the point where the family had to look up to them. Those who chose to offend this kind of genius had to kill the genius before they mature. A dead genius would no longer be a genius, but one of the million corpses disposed like the natural selection process. For the Wu family, Yi Shiwen was almost out of control. Wu Chunhai finally regretted it now. If he made a move early and killed Yi Shiwen even if it led to direct conflict with the Wang family, then the situation would be completely different by now. Anyway, direct confrontation with the Wang family would not kill off the whole family. However, letting Yi Shiwen grow further would lead to the annihilation of the entire family. But it was too late to regret now anyway. My elder brother, an ancient mirror appeared in Yi Ziwen's hand. Countless spiritual energy was absorbed in the direction of Tianyuan mirror. Boom! A blood pillar crashed down. Before Wu Chunhai finished speaking, the blood pillar landed on him, turning him into a cloud of blood mist on the spot. Tianyuan mirror then directly absorbed it. On the other side, Jia Qing saw Yi Shiwen pursue Wu Chunhai, and he was relieved. Immediately, anger raged intensely in his heart. He had already thought about it. He would find the brothers in the Sea Dragon Mansion to hunt Yi Shiwen down, tearing him into pieces to relinquish his anger. But before he could submerge deeper in his thought, he heard a sonic boom behind him. A figure quickly approached. As he probed with his spiritual senses, he was terrified. Yi Shiwen was swift, flickering at every distance. The terror had caught up. Jia Qing did not anticipate that Yi Shiwen would be so fast. Initially, when he watched Yi Shiwen chasing down Wu Chunhai, he thought that Yi Shiwen would not catch up with him. However, he did not expect that after Yi Shiwen hunted down Wu Chunhai, he would catch up with him. Yi Shiwen had never shown such a terrifying speed previously. Otherwise, Jia Qing would have doubted whether he dared to challenge him. But at this time, it was too late to say anything. Yi Ziwen's speed was getting faster and faster. his figure dashing right on the top of the sea surface. Boom! With a loud noise, Jia Qing also lost all vitality. Tranquility returned. Yi Shiwen did not continue to linger. Those bloody stench would attract many sea creatures. It was unwise to stay in this sea region for too long. Chapter 857. Meeting Wang Mingyu again. Sunny Bamboo Island was a quite famous place in the entire flourished Cloud Sea region. There was no other reason than the sunny bamboo on Sunny Bamboo Island. This bamboo that inhabited a unique environment was better than average fine iron. Many people would harvest them to make martial instruments or weapons. Due to the sunny bamboo, the entire Sunny Bamboo Island was more prosperous than South Initiate Island. When Yi Shiwen rushed to Sunny Bamboo Island, it took him 50 days even with the sea region map's guidance. Not only because the distance was far enough, but also because Yi Shiwen also encountered troublesome sea creatures. Occasionally, Yi Shiwen had to flee or make a detour when he saw these sea creatures in the distance. There was no other way. In the Endless Sea region, there were many places that even the North Mountain clan chief would be afraid to set foot, let alone Yi Shiwen. Fortunately, Yi Ziwen's spiritual senses could explore up to a distance farther than the average person. So, Yi Shiwen could avoid all the threats. After these few days, Yi Shiwen finally had a deep impression about what kind of problems he would face in ancient barrens. Streaming light passed by in the sky. It appeared like a vast, gorgeous, and multicolored firework. Having said that the Sunny Bamboo Island was an island, it had a huge area, almost like a small continent. Unlike South Initiate Island, the island had more than one city. The most famous and prosperous city was Sunny Bamboo City. This place is vibrant. It is incomparable with South Initiate Island. Yi Shiwen commented. Even in the true martial domain, there were not many cities equal to this Sunny Bamboo City. It had a completely different feeling from the previous life when Yi Shiwen was on Earth. Unlike the time in South Initiate Island, Sunny Bamboo Island required spiritual stones payment as entrance fee. Fortunately, it only required one spiritual stone, not many. For Yi Shiwen, this was a drop in the bucket. With countless warriors coming and going every day, it would be an astronomical wealth. Yi Shiwen entered the city. He found a reasonably good inn and walked in. Immediately, the waiter from the shop stepped forward and said, "Guest, what do you want to order? Do you want to have a meal or have a stay in the inn?" "Give me both. Please help me with a good room. Serve some wine and food," said Yi Shiwen. "All right. Please wait a moment." The waiter of the inn quickly went to arrange what was requested. "We have come in time. Recently, the Sunny Bamboo Island City Chamber of Commerce just bought a batch of good things and planned to hold an auction. We are in good luck to be here. Let's participate in the auction. If there is something good, we should go for it. When the Ash Gray Flame Cave Mansion is opened, we may also get more benefits." Yes, someone has prospected the date when Ash Gray Flame Cave Mansion will be opened. It should be quite recent. Some time ago, only some peripheral regions appeared, and there are already many treasures. This time, the Sunny Bamboo Island Chamber of Commerce held an auction, most likely because many people have obtained many benefits in the peripheral regions. They need to make use of their harvest. Yes, as the Ash Gray Flame Cave Mansion opens, it attracts a lot of warriors to come. We won't get the major benefits, but what remains for us would make us bask in wealth. Yi Shiwen just sat down, and he heard the news about the auction held by Sunny Bamboo Island Chamber of Commerce and the opening of Ash Gray Flame Cave Mansion. Ash Gray Flame Cave Mansion? What kind of place is that? Yi Shiwen was a little bit confused. As the waiter came up and served the dish, Yi Shiwen stopped him. "Waiter, what is the Ash Gray Flame Cave Mansion?" they said. Yi Shiwen asked. "You must have come from a different place," the waiter said confidently. "Presumably, you also heard of our Sunny Bamboo." Yi Shiwen nodded. Indeed, Sunny Bamboo on Sunny Bamboo Island was famous. This is a unique bamboo to our Sunny Bamboo Island. This bamboo grows by absorbing the flames underground. The waiter said proudly, "The reason that it nurtures is due to the underground of our island. They say it is the Holy Realm Dweller's Cave. However, this cave has not yet opened. Many experts find it hard to break in. Just recently, this ancient Holy Realm Dwellers Cave Mansion is about to open. Currently, the region near the cave mansion is opened. Many people have gained a lot of benefits in that region. Even the sunny Bamboo Island Chamber of Commerce launches an auction to make use of the harvest. How do you know that the Holy Realm Dwellers Cave is about to open? Yi Shiwen asked. I don't know. It's just the news spread around. They said that a senior who is proficient in 8 trigrams prediction had sensed the approaching opening of that place. Many people from other places rushed over. As I first saw you, I thought you came here to explore this ancient Holy Realm Dwellers Cave. The waiter talked freely in front of a stranger. He was at the Sage Realm. In the true martial domain, he would have high social standing. But in this endless sea region, he could only serve as a waiter. One could imagine how many experts were there in this ancient Baron's continent. I see. Yi Shiwen pondered for a moment, and thoughts appeared in his mind. He was also interested in the rumored Holy Realm Dwellers Cave. Although he didn't know much about Holy Realm Dwellers, at least a strong elite dwelled there previously. He had to go no matter what. May I ask if there is a sea region map of our flourished cloud sea region for sale on this island? On sunny Bamboo Island, only the map engulfing nearby sea regions are sold. If you want the whole sea region maps, you probably have to go to Sea Dragon Island. Sea Dragon Island is the core of the flourished cloud sea region. There must be a region, but I also heard a map would be auctioned. I don't know if that's what you wanted. If you have the time, take a look at the sunny Bamboo Island auction. The waiter thought for a while and said, I see, this is for you. Yi Shiwen took out a spirit crystal and threw it to the waiter, who thankfully retreated. In this ancient Baron's continent, there were too many masters, so the status of masters was far from that of true martial domain. In true martial domain, Sage Realm Masters would have a high net worth and good social standing. But in this ancient Baron's continent, they were only classified at the bottom of society. Yi Shiwen did not think much as he passed the person a spirit crystal. Yi Shiwen, this is indeed a good opportunity. Although it might not be a Holy Realm Dwellers Cave, a powerful elite might have dwelled there as the rumors say. Most of these cave mansions are left with their treasures. It doesn't hurt to take a trip, said Yi Shiwen nodded. He also realized that, in fact, in addition to the benefits, it must be accompanied by a lot of dangers. However, Yi Shiwen understood that nothing ventured, nothing gained. But before that, I want to go to this sunny Bamboo Island auction to see if there are any good items. I also want to visit this Chamber of Commerce to see if there is any sea region map in the flourished cloud sea region for sale, said Yi Shiwen. There were no satellites in this world. All maps were strategic resources. It was crafted with many manpower. Each map was precious since a hefty price must be paid to craft them. But for the current Yi Shiwen, it was not a big deal. For him, spirit crystal was not only used for cultivation but also equivalent to objects readied for barter. It would naturally be best if these crystals could be exchanged for something useful. Yi Shiwen took a bite of the meal. Although the meal was expensive, it was worth the money. These meals were not ordinary. They were meals imbued with spiritual energy. After eating them habitually, it could slightly improve cultivation. Most importantly, it did not increase the impurities in the body. Human beings had been in constant contact with the external environment and accumulated impurities in the body since they were just born. Therefore, many people could not live for a long time. With the emergence of warriors, they constantly purify their body and keep their 5 major meridians unobstructed. But whether it was breathing ordinary air or eating, it contained impurities. These impurities seemed to be nothing, but it would affect the spiritual energy flow if they had accumulated too much. Generally speaking, the lesser the inborn impurities, the smarter the person. Many warriors with higher aptitude were quite taboo against eating and drinking. They thought that it would harm their cultivation critically. Hence, they would ban all these activities, living a life like a devoted monk. For Yi Shiwen, he heeded no concerns about it. He would dwell in the pleasure of eating without overthinking. As for those embedded impurities, he didn't care at all. His tyrant body scripture had cultivated to such a high level. Those impurities would be expelled from the body when Yi Shiwen cultivated, so there was no need to worry. However, although he was not worried, it was better to have these meals with spiritual energy than ordinary ones. After Yi Shiwen had eaten halfway, there was a series of footsteps. Yi Shiwen looked up and saw a group of people going straight up to the second floor. She wore a long skirt and beautiful eyebrows. She was none other than Wang Mingyu. Behind her was Wang Feiyun and a group of young experts from the Wang family. Chapter 858, Scarlet Thunder Immortal. Yi Shiwen was a little surprised. He didn't expect to meet these people from the Wang family again. Almost when Yi Shiwen spotted them, they also spotted Yi Shiwen. They were a little happy at the moment, but there weren't many surprises. Yi Shiwen came to Sunny Bamboo Island under Wang Menjia's guidance previously. Hence, they were not surprised at all. "Brother Yi, I didn't expect that we will meet again." Wang Mingyu smiled slightly. She took the Wang family and sat down next door. Only then did she and Wang Feiyun come to Yi Zaiwen's side. "Brother Yi," Wang Feiyun greeted, arching his hands. At this time, he was convinced of Yi Shiwen. In any case, he was far from being comparable with Yi Shiwen. He could only look up on Yi Shiwen. The slightest unhappiness at the beginning was now gone. "It's a coincidence, but you came to Sunny Bamboo Island," Yi Shiwen asked with some confusion. "I heard that this time there will be an ancient Holy Realm Dwellers cave on Sunny Bamboo Island, so my father asked us to bring everyone here to gain experience." Wang Menjia's thin lips pressed lightly. "If we can get something, then it is naturally better." It turned out that it was also about the Holy Realm Dwellers cave. It seemed that this matter affected many people. Yi Shiwen kept thinking in his mind. If it were the ancient Holy Realm Dwellers cave mansion, then those who stayed in the dark for a long time and surpassed Transcendent Realm would have already made a move. If the Holy Realm Dwellers cave is opened, then I am afraid we will not have our turn to explore, said Yi Shiwen. Yes, but this is just rumors. Hence, before getting accurate confirmation, those veterans will not easily appear from close cultivation. Many people in enclosed cultivation are challenging the retribution, said Wang Mingyu. On the warrior path, almost every realm could increase the lifespan by a large amount. Until the Transcendent Realm, it directly increased the lifespan in tens of thousands of years. Therefore, the Transcendent Realm was also called Tenacious Realm, Tuan, which meant eternal life without boundaries. The wish of many emperors in the mortal realm. But going further as cultivation increases again, the lifespan would no longer improve. Whether it was Transcendent Realm or a master who had surpassed the Transcendent Realm, the lifespan would only be 10,000 years, unless attaining Longevity Realm. Otherwise, one would have to face death coming from an insufficient lifespan. Not to mention that many people in ancient barons were already Transcendent Realm when they were a few hundred years old. The further their progress, the harder it was to cultivate. The time to cultivate almost doubled. In Transcendent Realm, there were many levels. 99% of people were facing the situation of insufficient life expectancy. They would find ways to break through or find treasures that would increase their lifespan. Even some people with insufficient qualifications faced the awkward situation that their life expectancy was about to reach the limits after the breakthrough of Transcendent Realm. So those old guys in close cultivation all the year round were in desperation. When there was no other way to improve their lifespan, it was only possible to extend their lifespan through breakthrough as soon as possible. No one wanted to die. The biggest goal of the martial artist's path was to break the limits of the world and live forever. So, unless it is determined that this is the Holy Realm Dwellers Cave, they only come out. After all, the so-called Holy Realm Dwellers Cave surfaces almost every few years. It is not unusual at all, said Wang Mingyu. Yi Shiwen also knew from her tone that she probably didn't take this Holy Realm Dwellers Dongfu statement to heart. There were many rumors like this every once in a while. No wonder. Yi Shiwen nodded. That's why our family hopes that we can have more experience, which will help our practice, said Wang Mingyu. Yi Shiwen nodded. He never felt that blind, close cultivation practice would be useful. The so-called reading 10,000 books were not as good as traveling 10,000 miles. Some things were learned more effectively in personal experience. If Yi Shiwen had not experienced hardships, it would be impossible for him to improve his cultivation so quickly. Many things were only possible to understand in a momentary experience. It happens that Brother Yi is here. I wonder if Brother Yi is interested in the opening of the Holy Realm Dwellers Cave this time? Wang Menjia's eyes were bright. She looked at Yi Shiwen in anticipation. After listening to Wang Menjia's words, the eyes of the surrounding Wang's disciples suddenly lit up. They had seen Yi Ziwen's strength with their own eyes. If Yi Shiwen could join their team, their risk factor would also be reduced. After all, no one knew what was in this Holy Realm Dwellers Cave mansion. Once there was any danger, they dared not say that they could defend themselves. The Transcendent Realm Masters were considered quite capable for many people, but they only just stepped onto the mainstream group for this world. Yi Shiwen thought for a while. He was also quite interested in this Holy Realm Dwellers Cave. Wouldn't it be better if someone more familiar could lead the way? Well, we can go be together, said Yi Shiwen. That's great. We will notify you when the cave mansion opens. Wang Mingyu smiled. With Yi Shiwen, it was naturally much safer. Is Brother Yi staying in this inn? Wang Mingyu asked. Yi Shiwen nodded. If Brother Yi is free tomorrow, why not go to that sunny bamboo island auction together, said Wang Mingyu. Yi Shiwen didn't refuse since he was free. Isn't this Wang Mingyu? Your Wang family is also participating in this Holy Realm Dwellers Cave. A slightly sharp female voice came up from downstairs, and then a figure came up from the stairs. It was a woman with a hot figure. A light blue clothes-fitting dress made her proud figure more obvious. The facial features were exquisite and beautiful. Those enchanting eyes were also unforgettable. Yi Shiwen could feel that when the woman's figure appeared, the men on the second floor of the inn could not help but drool. Even Yi Shiwen was stunned a little, but then Mingxin's ancient tree emitted a burst of colorful light, pulling his senses back. He was a little surprised. He didn't expect this woman to be so beautiful that even he would lose himself for a short time. In fact, his heart was usually firm in his cultivation. Ordinary things couldn't shake his heart. Scarlet Thunder Immortal, I didn't expect to be able to see the young leader of the Scarlet Thunder Gang, Scarlet Thunder Immortal. This trip is worth it. Yes, Scarlet Thunder Immortal is as beautiful, just like the legend. I wonder how many young masters have fallen under her charm. If you can get intimate with her, I'm willing to die. Many people were whispering around. Yi Shiwen took another glance at the Scarlet Thunder Immortal. The Scarlet Thunder Gang was one of the 4 major forces on Sunny Bamboo Island. Its status was almost equivalent to that of the 3 clans in the South Initiate Island. This Scarlet Thunder Immortal was the Scarlet Thunder Gang's young leader, so her status on Sunny Bamboo Island was apparent. Hearing this voice, Wang Menjia's face suddenly became a little ugly. She bit her lips slightly and said, "Demon beast. What about I want to join, can't it?" said Wang Mingyu unbendingly. Yi Shiwen had never seen this before. His impression of Wang Mingyu was always elegant and calm, but he didn't expect there was this side of her. It's good to join in too, but just don't die. Scarlet Thunder Immortal said with a smile, but her tone didn't sound like giving advice, but rather a faint threat. Even Yi Shiwen, an outsider who didn't know anything about the situation, figured out that the 2 women who were battling each other probably had many grudges. At this time, it was inconvenient for him to ask. After all, it had nothing to do with him. You don't have to be concerned about it. Wang Mingyu sneered with the flame in her eyes unconcealed. He is a little sister, it's not good to be so angry at a young age. Scarlet Thunder Immortal chuckled, then turned to Yi Shiwen and said, "Is he also a member of your Wang family? Tiske, has the Wang family been suppressed all these years? You even bring along a half-step transcendent realm." Yi Shiwen frowned. Initially, he didn't want to meddle in. This matter had nothing to do with him, but the Scarlet Thunder Immortals took the lead in offending him first. "Busybody," said Yi Shiwen coldly. Of course, he knew that he was nothing in the eyes of Scarlet Thunder Immortal. She just wanted to use him to bully Wang Mingyu. Since she dared to humiliate him, he would not stay idle. Plus, he was not a good-tempered person to let the others humiliate him without retaliating. Scarlet Thunder Immortal's face stiffened. She didn't expect to receive such a blatant counterattack. It would be impossible to lose out to men with her charm or to say those men did not want to be rude in front of beauty like her, as to not leaving a bad impression in her heart. But she did not expect someone like Yi Shiwen who disregarded her beauty. Seeing Scarlet Thunder Immortal forced to admit defeat, Wang Mingyu was immediately satisfied. Her impression of Yi Shiwen improved a lot. Not all men would shame her like this. Half-step transcendent realm. It's probably not bad at your age. In the eyes of many people, it's still far inferior, said Scarlet Thunder Immortal coldly. Her coquettish attitude had all disappeared. Does it have anything to do with you? Or are your Scarlet Thunder gang all so nosy? Sneered Yi Shiwen. Chapter 859. The auction begins, presumptuous. Scarlet Thunder isn't someone you can slander. Scarlet Thunder Immortal's face changed drastically. Her white palm slashed towards Yi Shiwen like lightning. Scarlet Thunder Immortal's hand chop carried a faint sound of thunder. It was so swift, and it bombarded in front of Yi Shiwen instantly. Although she didn't use chi, her attack launched with lightning speed. If Yi Shiwen were just an ordinary half-step transcendent realm, he would be killed on the spot. If she were to be merciful, he would be fatally injured. It was conceivable how evil Scarlet Thunder Immortal was. Boom! With a muffled crash, Scarlet Thunder Immortal's extremely fast palm was directly blocked by a fist. Shockwaves radiated out, and Yi Shiwen remained motionless. Except for the Wang family, everyone was a little startled. They never expected such a result. In their imagination, Yi Shiwen would dodge it in embarrassment or even be bombarded to death on the spot. After all, Scarlet Thunder Immortal had a long-standing reputation. I'm not mistaken, right? That person isn't blasted afar. Someone finally spoke up, but he appeared inexplicable to the situation. Impossible. Even if Scarlet Thunder Immortal didn't use all her strength, she is already a transcendent realm 4th level expert. Among the young experts of the flourished Cloud Sea region, she ranked in the top 100. How could this half-step transcendent realm brat receive this attack? Everyone was surprised. Scarlet Thunder Immortal had a long-standing reputation and was famous for a long time, especially at Sunny Bamboo Island. It was rare that she had failed to defeat Yi Shiwen in one blow. Not only was everyone surprised, but even Scarlet Thunder Immortal herself was astonished too. She knew her strength very well. Even though she did not exert her full strength, it was not something an ordinary Transcendent Realm expert could achieve, let alone a half-step Transcendent Realm warrior. Without entering the Transcendent Realm, the gap was like heaven and earth. But it also made her realize that this half-step Transcendent Realm brat might be extraordinary. Yi Shiwen was unfazed, but he was secretly wary. This Scarlet Thunder Immortal was more potent than he imagined. Her Transcendent Realm 4th level strength was real. If he were an ordinary half-step Transcendent Realm, he would be dead on the spot. She didn't use all her strength. Otherwise, even Yi Shiwen would have avoided her attack. Compared with the Transcendent Realm experts, he still had a lot of gaps to catch up with. So, this is a flourished Cloud Sea region's expert rank in the top 100. Yi Shiwen's mouth raised slightly. In fact, this list did not have much official authority. It was just folks saying. However, everyone on the list was well known in the entire flourished Cloud Sea region. Over time, people had gradually acquiesced to the existence of this list. Even many people judge whether a person had potential based on the information published on this list. Scarlet Thunder Immortal was only ranked in the top 100. Her cultivation had already entered the Transcendent Realm 4th level. For the young experts in the flourished Cloud Sea region, Yi Shiwen was not even qualified to be included. But what happened also made Yi Shiwen a little interesting. However, the strength of the opponent was much greater than Yi Shiwen. In terms of physique, Yi Shiwen would not lose out. Instead, he would faintly gain the upper hand. Faced with Scarlet Thunder Immortal's assault, he was undefeated and even showed signs of him being more superior. But he was not narcissistic enough to think that he could defeat Scarlet Thunder Immortal with this advantage. Yi Shiwen didn't bother her further. Even if she tried her best, she couldn't deal with Yi Shiwen. At least to escape, he was confident with it. No wonder you dare to speak boldly at a young age. It turns out that you're quite capable. Scarlet Thunder Immortal looked at Yi Shiwen and said coldly. However, it was precisely because the physical contest could not prevail, she did not continue. Although her strength was not at the physical body, she had a high rank among the same cultivation level experts. She could not gain the upper hand in the face of Yi Shiwen. What made it terrifying was that Yi Shiwen was not a Transcendent Realm expert, but just a half-step Transcendent Realm expert. Her emotions were a little erratic. She couldn't figure out Yi Shiwen's limit. She then smiled slightly and giggled, "But you shouldn't talk nonsense like that. Otherwise you may die terribly." After speaking, Scarlet Thunder Immortal quickly left, leaving everyone with a beautiful back. Demon Beast. Wang Mingyu looked at her back and said, rather uncomfortably. In the inn, many men stared at Scarlet Thunder Immortal leaving. Slowly, they retracted their gaze. "Brother Yi, I didn't expect that you are already so good. Scarlet Thunder Immortal is ranked top 100 in our entire Flourished Cloud Sea region. Her cultivation standing at Transcendent Realm 4th level made her superior to small clan chiefs and small families' masters. Yet, you can be on equal footing with her," said Wang Feiyun in disbelief. Scarlet Thunder Immortal. She deemed Yi Shiwen unique to other men, recognizing his outstanding strength. He was already quite strong in her heart, but she never expected him to be on equal footing with Scarlet Thunder Immortal, who had been famous for many years. This time, it completely overthrew her perception of Yi Shiwen. She always thought that she had seen his limits when she witnessed him making a move. The reality would always say otherwise. "She didn't give it all," said Yi Shiwen unabashedly. He did not plan to use this as a way to boast himself. "If she gave it all, I would be outmatched." Even so, Brother Yi is quite powerful. Although the Demon Beast spirit is annoying, she is strong. Wang Mingyu interjected. Just like Wang Feiyun, although she hated Scarlet Thunder Immortal deep down her heart, she had to admit her superior strength. But it shone Yi Shiwen even brighter. "What's the matter? You seem to have a grudge with her?" Yi Shiwen asked. Upon mentioning it, Wang Menjia's face suddenly turned ugly. At this time, Wang Feiyun said unexpectedly, "This matter goes way back to 100 years ago. At that time, Menjia's mother was seriously ill and urgently needed a kind of spiritual herb to save her life. However, Scarlet Thunder Immortal snatched it away in the end. Her mother's life can't be saved. Since then, she has become an unwelcome person in our Wang family. However, the Scarlet Thunder Gang is a superior force. We can't do anything about it." Yi Shiwen saw Wang Menjia's beautiful eyes glimmer with unforgettable hatred, which Yi Shiwen had never seen before. It seemed that this incident had a significant impact on her. With the Scarlet Thunder Immortal disturbing the peace, everyone in the Wang family didn't chat much. Soon after eating something, they got a few rooms in this inn and stayed. Yi Shiwen did not continue to question and went back to his room. "There are more experts in the Flourished Cloud Sea region than I thought. I didn't expect Scarlet Thunder Immortal on Sunny Bamboo Island alone to be so powerful, let alone the experts in Sea Dragon Mansion." Yi Shiwen sat cross-legged on the bed and said with some excitement in his tone, "She is at the Transcendent Realm 4th level peak. You can't defeat her in your current cultivation unless you ascend to the Transcendent Realm." Said Yi Mo, "When this auction is over, I will immediately find a place to cross the Transcendent Realm Retribution. At that time, I can compete with the Scarlet Thunder Immortal," replied Yi Shiwen. The Scarlet Thunder Immortal's appearance had seemingly widened Yi Shiwen's horizon. There were many tyrannical experts in the flourished Cloud Sea region. It was an excellent motivator for Yi Shiwen to speed up his cultivation progress. Compared with them, Yi Ziwen's progress was way behind. He was not even a transcendent realm expert. It might not seem like a big deal. However, when Yi Shiwen faced the elite young experts, it would be fatal. After all, not attaining transcendent realm was just as literal as it was. His strength could not make up the cultivation realm's gap. Especially with the Holy Realm Dweller's cave opening, senior experts surpassing the transcendent realm might appear. At the very least, many young experts would be attracted. If Yi Shiwen couldn't attain the transcendent realm, he would suffer terribly. And, although it appears that there are many young experts in this endless sea region, the ancient Barrens continent is the world center. The geniuses are mainly nurtured there. Many monstrous competitors stay active there. That's the place you belong to. Only a duel with those fearless geniuses can speed up your cultivation progress, said Yama. There was also the mystery with Yi Ziwen's origin. Sooner or later, he had to find out about it to fulfill the Bodhi's previous predecessor's last wish. Otherwise, this last wish would be the biggest obstacle to his cultivation. The so-called incomplete self. The day passed by quickly. Early in the morning of the next day, many experts flocked to Sunny Bamboo City due to the Sunny Bamboo Chamber of Commerce's auction. Streamers of light were everywhere, dashing through the sky, then landing outside the city. They all chose to walk into the city. The city became even more crowded. Although almost everyone possessed martial arts in ancient barrens with high cultivation, many warriors would be exploring various relics and hunting for celestial material treasures in the depths of the endless sea region. It was rare to see these warriors swarm the sunny bamboo island. Even Yi Shiwen saw the Sea Clan experts swooping in midair. They were quite arrogant, which aroused many human clan experts' unpleasantness, but there was no one taking the first move to teach these Sea Clan experts a lesson. Chapter 860. Emergence of experts. In addition to the Sea Clan being a stronger force, the most important reason was that each of these Sea Clan experts possessed unique skills. Within the same realm, it was difficult for a human clan expert to be their opponent. Yi Shiwen and the Wang family gathered under the restaurant. Unexpectedly, this time, even many Sea Clan experts have come. I am afraid it will be even more difficult to get what we want. Wang Mingyu frowned. Things would become more complicated once the Sea Clan participated. All human experts knew that, but they couldn't do anything with these Sea Clan experts. Human clans indeed had many experts. On the ancient Barrens continent, if every human worked together, they could crush any Sea Clans in an overwhelming victory. However, humans had scattered all around the world and divided into many individual forces. As a result, humans were at a disadvantage facing any Sea Clan. Naturally, humans had not much confidence too. There is no other way. The Holy Realm Dweller's Mansion is unlike other Holy Realm Dweller's Mansion, which opens directly. Instead, it opens the outer areas first. After it has been open for some time, these Sea Clan experts will rush over as the news reaches them. Wang Feiyun sighed. Any human clan didn't have a good impression of those ferocious Sea Clans. Of course, not all Sea Clans were like this. Many Sea Clans befriended the human clan, but in general, humans still didn't have a good impression of the Sea Clan. But no matter what, these have nothing to do with us. We are only going to explore treasures in the surrounding areas. There shouldn't be any conflicts with these top experts, said Wang Mingyu. Many experts from the Wang family nodded. Although they were all transcendent realm experts, they are still too weak compared to the upcoming masters. The Wang family group could only be regarded as an ordinary team. Having the leverage to explore the surrounding area was already not bad for them. If they were to enter the core areas, it could be their demise. They knew quite well of their limits. Let's go, said Yi Shiwen. Yi Shiwen and the Wang family headed straight to the Sunny Bamboo's auction house in the city center. Along the way, they saw many warriors heading in the same direction as them. Transcendent realm experts were everywhere. Yi Ziwen's team was not eye-catching in any way. The Sunny Bamboo Chamber of Commerce's auction house was magnificent, seemingly flaunting their abundance of wealth. Sunny Bamboo Chamber of Commerce declared their superiority blatantly with its richly ornamented building. The carved beams had all accentuated Sunny Bamboo Chamber of Commerce's resources too. Concurrent with this auction, Sunny Bamboo Chamber of Commerce's financial resources shocked many warriors from more remote areas. In this noisy crowd, two women were particularly eye-catching. One of them was none other than Scarlet Thunder Immortal, who had clashed with Yi Shiwen previously. The other one was a tall woman in purple. Different from Scarlet Thunder Immortal's charm, this purple-clothed woman was extraordinarily dignified and elegant. She was on equal standing of beauty but had a completely different charm. Scarlet Thunder Immortal and her had their unique appeal. Scarlet Thunder Immortal and Miss Yao are getting more and more beautiful. Both of them have outstanding quality. It is worthy of being the two beauties of Sunny Bamboo Island. Even in the entire Flourished Cloud Sea region, they are well-known beauties. Indeed, not only are they beautiful, but most importantly, they are all strong. They may be future leaders on our Sunny Bamboo Island. I don't know who will get to marry them in the future. Those who achieve that would save efforts up to 2,000 years. Scarlet Thunder Immortal will be the future leader of the Scarlet Thunder Gang. Miss Yao will also be the future president of the Sunny Bamboo Chamber of Commerce. They are both influential figures on Sunny Bamboo Island. People in their surroundings were whispering, "Miss Yao?" Yi Shiwen asked Wang Mingyu next to her. But Yi Shiwen felt slightly emotional. Whether it was Scarlet Thunder Immortal or Miss Yao, he had never underestimated them. Even in ancient Baron's mainland, it was quite difficult for a woman to get ahead. It was even more challenging to become an influential figure leading a force. That Miss Yao is named Yao Qian. She is the Sunny Bamboo Chamber of Commerce chairman's daughter. At her young age, she had outstanding strength. She was well known in the Flourished Cloud Sea region, in particular her beauty. Coupled with the demon beast, they are the two beauties of Sunny Bamboo Island. Are you interested? Wang Mingyu looked at Yi Shiwen teasingly. Not really, but she is strong. Yi Shiwen just looked at Yao Qian and said. He could vaguely feel that Yao Qian was more potent than Scarlet Thunder Immortal. It was almost instinctive, possibly Star Beast's instinct. Of course, she is strong. Among the young experts in the Flourished Cloud Sea region, she ranks 35th. She has both solid strength and distinguished beauty. You must be a foreigner. Not far from Yi Shiwen, a man looked at Yi Shiwen as if he was a bumpkin and said with a slightly triumphant expression, 35th. Yi Shiwen was a little surprised. He just felt that Yao Qian might be strong but didn't expect Yao Qian to be so strong. Scarlet Thunder Immortal only ranks in the top 100. Why is Yao Qian ranked so much higher than Scarlet Thunder Immortal? Yi Shiwen looked at Wang Mingyu. Wang Mingyu was not surprised. Yi Shiwen was not a member of the Flourished Cloud Sea region. It was not surprising he did not know many things that everyone knows. If Yi Shiwen knew, that would be odd. There are countless geniuses in the Flourished Cloud Sea region. Those who can rank in the top 100 are the best among the younger generation, so the gap between them is quite small. Those between rank 90th to rank 100 are in the same power realm with only a slight difference amongst all of them, said Wang Mingyu. Yi Shiwen could imagine it too. Although Wang Feiyun was also Transcendent Realm First Level in South Initiate Island, he was much better than other ordinary Transcendent Realm First Level. Wang Mingyu and Wu Chunhai were much better than Wang Feiyun. Even if they were to be at the same level, the gap in strength was huge. Miss Yao had a stronger aura than Scarlet Thunder Immortal. After Yi Shiwen integrated with the Star Beast's bloodline power, he had become extremely sensitive to these auras. I have not seen the two Muse for a long time. After the last banquet, we have not seen each other for a full 10 years. The two Muses are still graceful as ever. A clear voice came from not far away. It came from a handsome man in a yellow robe. The young man walked out and said with a smile on his face, "It turns out to be Master Qi. It's been a long time since I've seen you. You're graceful as ever. Scarlet Thunder Immortal winked. Those who didn't know her would think she was interested in themselves. But the yellow-robed young man was familiar with Scarlet Thunder Immortal. Although the beauty was on his side, he also knew that Scarlet Thunder Immortal's usual mannerism was. If she were not like this, it would be surprising. Qidong, I didn't expect you to be interested in the opening of Holy Realm Dweller's mansion this time. It seems that you're well prepared. Miss Yao spoke. Her voice was sweet, like a silver chime. I'm just here to join in the fun. Both muses are the host here. Please take care of me by then. Qidong laughed loudly. He was gracious when facing the two famous beauties. Qidong, I didn't expect even him to be attracted here. Wang Mingyu exclaimed. When she saw Yi Shiwen puzzled, she explained, Qidong is outstanding among the younger generations. He ranks above Yao Qian at 32nd. Another young expert. Yi Shiwen silently noted down the name. Qidong's aura was almost the same as Yao Qian's, though he was superior to Scarlet Thunder Immortal. It's just a matter of our capability. Take all you want if you can. Yao Qian just said indifferently, as if she didn't care about Qidong very much. Muse Yao. You're the same as always despite not seeing you for many years. Qidong didn't mind Yao Qian's curt reply. He was aware of their status as the two beauties of sunny Bamboo Island. Maybe we're not the protagonists during the opening of the Holy Realm Dweller's mansion. Qidong laughed and said, the Sea Clan brothers, aren't you also quite interested? It's great that you are still self-aware. This Holy Realm Dweller's mansion is at the sea bottom. Of course, it belongs to our Sea Clan. Your clan better not intervene. Otherwise, death and injury are inevitable. At this time, a slightly hoarse voice came from not far away. A middle-aged man with a gloomy face approached quickly. His face was a bit lean, he had an aquiline nose. A seemingly sinister air engulfed him. Another Sea Clan expert. Yi Shiwen could sense a completely different aura from this middle-aged man, utterly different from human beings. On temperature alone, one would think this middle-aged man was already dead. The temperature on his body was only 10 degrees. This middle-aged man should be a cold-blooded creature. Bai Chen, 1. TSK, I don't expect to see you here. I thought you're a coward dog fleeing from Jade Shadow Sea Snake Clan's pursuit. You even dare to appear here. Aren't you afraid of being hunted by your kin once they got news about it? Qidong just smiled faintly. The middle-aged man's face immediately stiffened. It was apparent that Qidong's words had struck his sore spot. Is he Bai Chen? Another fierce figure. Do you know this Baiken? Could it be that some powerful character in the Sea Clan? He is not strong, but he is famous for our generation. They said that he stole a treasure of his clan and escaped. His own kin has been pursuing tightly. He even killed his kin, who hunts him. He is ruthless. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.